First of all, but I'd like to start on a positive note. I've noticed that certain members of the YouTube community have taken time out of their busy schedules to address the constant grift of conservative black Republicans or black conservatives on the internet. Yeah, I've noticed that a few notable YouTubers have suddenly taken an interest in the Hodge twins, Antonio Daniels. Very interesting, very interesting, very interesting. Have you noticed this? I wish I had a co-host right now. Have you noticed this? Yeah, I've noticed it, Tim. It's a crazy thing what's going on here. Yeah, I noticed. It's like all of a sudden these grifters popped up. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. All of a sudden, out of nowhere came the grifters, and I don't know, man. I don't know why they just got around to it. You know, it's kind of crazy, fam. You know, it's kind of crazy that they just got around to calling out the grifters. I mean, it would lead you to believe that maybe they've been hiding themselves. Yeah, I mean, Hodge twins only been grifting for the last 8 years. It's amazing. It somehow made the news with local YouTube people. Yeah, and Antonio Daniels, Anton, he's been grifting strong for at least 3 years, right? Isn't it like 3 years? What was it, 3 years? Yeah, that's like 3 years, Tim Black, like 3 years, yeah. Maybe, 2.5, at least since 2022. Yeah. After 4 years, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm just noticing that, people got a conflict of interest maybe. I don't know, maybe they had what they call it when you suddenly come down with ethics. Once upon a time everything was fine and all of a sudden you have I don't know, what do you call it? Tim, I don't know where you're going with that. Maybe financial problems? Yeah, financial problems. Or maybe they just saw money being made, calling these people out, so they thought maybe they could do it. I don't know. I don't want to say it was a financial incentive. I wouldn't want to say it's a financial incentive for these people to suddenly get tired of black people getting dragged behind the bus till their heads pop off by these grifters. I don't know, maybe finally Abba Preach and O'Shea Duke Jackson, they I don't know, man. I just think maybe it seems a little, just seems weird. I'm just noticing it, if they aren't, I don't know, man. I guess all the bigging up Tariq money dried up. I don't mean no harm, man. I think y'all should have to give Tariq some money. Yeah, y'all should have to give Tariq some money. Because they be making money on Tariq, man. Everybody, FBA. Damn, I just said cut the check. People act like I was stealing. These dudes literally. See where I come from. If you're going to steal from a brother, you best have a gun. And you best not miss. If you're going to rob somebody, at least use a gun next time. Show some respect. What they saying? I was some Italian mob movie. It's a Joe Pesci line, I think it was. Or maybe it was a Robert De Niro line. Yeah, it was Casino. Lex Diamond. Is that Casino or is that Goodfellas? I don't know which one it is. So many names. So many Italian mob movies. But the one where Robert De Niro, yeah, Lex Diamond, he's the casino guy, and Sharon Stone is his wife, and she's a woman with loose morals. And she's dealing with James Woods, who lost his mind recently on Twitter. Twitter wasn't good for everybody. Yeah, it wasn't good for James Woods, Isaiah Washington. Certain people just don't need Twitter because their beef with the Democrats in Hollywood really comes out on Twitter. I think that's where it started with James Woods. Anyway, well, James Woods plays a character where he's like pimping Sharon Stone to get money out of her, and she like stole money from Robert De Niro. I'm sorry, make a long story longer. There's a scene when Robert De Niro says, if you're gonna steal money, don't steal money from a woman, you pimp. A pimp's a low class, something like your pimp, be a man. At least use a gun. Use a gun. Then he I think he punches the shit out of James Woods. And James Woods says something like, I hope you get raped by a pack of Negroes or something, and walks off. Now that's the other James Woods and Robert De Niro. Al Pacino, no, that was James Woods, Al Pacino, Any Given Sunday, where he does that. Man, I'm a movie guy. What am I gonna tell you? What was I saying? I had a point. What was the point? Oh, I know what the point was. The point was, if you're gonna be using people's name to get views, the least you could do is cut them in. Yeah, you guys got fat while we starved. We saw you. Get fat out there. Get fat while the rest of us starve. I don't care if a nickel bag gets sold in the park. I want in. It's a new day. It's a new day. Oh, King of New York, baby. King of New York. What I mean to say is that I just noticed that there's a lot of grifting, and a lot of the grifting is being, people are coming for. People are not allowing it anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just being in jest, man. I love O'Shea Duke Jackson's content. Abba and Preach, they do phenomenal content. My disagreement with any of these guys or any topics, I think would be fundamentally sound. I have no problems if I disagree with you. It's if I think you authentic. Some people, you disagree with them and it's like they're so phony. It's like you can't even have respect for their disagreement. You know what I'm saying? Like if I take a position, I can back up my position based on logic that I feel is sound. Even if it's just opinion, it is based in, not in money being paid to me, not in corruption, not in deceit, right? It's based in my own belief system, and I can articulate that to you in a fair way, and we can have that conversation, and we can disagree. So one of the problems with the progressive left that I noticed was a lack of respecting that other people can have different opinions. See, when I call out conservative grifters, I don't even know if they're conservative. They just lie so much. They're so phony. They're so anti-black that I don't respect their opinions, their stances as being legitimate. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a whole different story. So O'Shea Duke Jackson, I believe he believes what he believes. And I believe when he says something, that's really what he thinks. Abba and Preach, I believe they believe what they believe. And here goes one. Y'all ready for it? Here goes one. I think Nick Fuentes believes what he believes. Yeah, I believe he believes what he believes. He's racist as hell. But then isn't it refreshing to have a racist say, hey man, I'm a racist. But we can still be cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know. In fact, fam, I think I enjoy that better. I think I have a. Okay, so one of the people that I respect their work is Irony, also Frimpong. Shout out to Irony, right? And I still take credit for Irony's ascension on YouTube because, and I know he's going to disagree with me, but I am still the first person to platform Irony, aside from Yvette Carnell. Yvette Carnell, those two are friends back in 2016 or 17, so I can't take credit for that. But in late 2017, I had Irony on the show, and I feel like before he went on the hills, rising with Crystal Ball and Saga, he came on the Tim Black show. So I feel, you know, so yeah, so I take credit for that. But I also respect his content, and this is someone's content when I want to big it up, because I got no problem respecting other people. Because even when I disagree with them, which is not often, I know it's coming from a place of sincerity, realness, not corruption. The Democrats haven't stuck their hand up his ass and did him like a puppet. Neither have the Republicans, neither have our Jewish friends at the ADL. There's none of that going on. You understand what I'm saying? I don't feel that way about the Hodge twins, Jesse Lee Peterson. Well, Jesse Lee, no, I think Jesse Lee believes what he believes. He dumb as hell. Dumbed in a box of rocks. But, and I think he's senile. He's a PDF file. I think he's a PDF file. I'm not sure of that, but I remember something coming out. Woo! A whole lot about this guy. White people don't care. As long as he says what they want him to say about black people, they don't care what he does. They could kill us. They're willing to sacrifice a few young white guys to the altar of Jesse Lee Peterson, as long as their number one coon offers, those black people under the bus on a routine basis. But see, there's a lot of other conservatives who I do not feel, black conservatives that I do not feel are authentic. And those are the ones I have problems with. And I just noticed that there's been a lot of people coming for their necks. And there's been some new people that I hadn't even known about. So it's really great that I've been able to discover new content creators. And we can bond over our dislike and our lack of respect to the Hodge twins, Anton Daniels. I mean, there's a guy right now roasting the shit out of Anton. I'm like, whoa. Put my hand by the furnace over here. He's roasting the shit out of Anton. Woo! Man. Cook at that dude, man. I said, damn, man, I ain't seen this since Kyrenians ran up one side of Wanda down the other. May she rest in peace. She caught a hot one. Woo! So basically, it's not that the conspiracy, well, I should say the black conservative grift is over. It's not over. I think that black conservative grift lane is wide open. It's wide like Brandon Tatum's. It's wide like, like Benj Netanyahu. The way he is, I'm just trying to say, I think Benjamin did things to Brendan Tatum. I mean, anytime you go to a country and they spit on you and you come back and you're like, hey, they spit on me. You know what I'm saying? But I understand. Sometimes you got to spit. Come back sound like Shannon Sharp. Sometimes people spit on you. Skip. And then sometimes when they spit, just because they spit, call me infidel. They're infidel, then they spit on me. But he didn't hawk when he spit. He didn't dig for it. He didn't get a loogie. You know what I'm saying? You ever got a loogie? Hey man, you get a loogie out? Anytime when you're a black man, we're supposed to be strong black men. Make them have to work to break us. Brandon. That's why we watched Roots and felt good, man. They had to beat the shit out of Toby. He was Kunta Kinte. He ain't get a ghost up, man. And then Denzel Glory. He stood there and took that. And they didn't even let Denzel, he had so much, he was a new actor, but he didn't break. He's like, nah. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, that one tear came down, but he stood, they didn't even they had so much respect for Denzel, they didn't even make him have to break that scene and fold. Did you what? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But see, that was Brandon. They wouldn't even got him up on it. They wouldn't even tied his hands for you. Toby. They wouldn't even have to take his shirt off yet. Just say they're gonna whip him. Say they're gonna whip him. Toby. You want to know where? I know where Sojourner Truth at. I know where Harriet Tubman is. I can tell you all the other players we got. Yeah, so I think we're in a precarious moment in time where the grift is plentiful, but so are the radar detectors of the black community. And many black folks have awakened to this. And they're not falling for the okie doke, man. Of course, we got some morons. I mean, if you can't see through the high swings, you either dumb, blind, or they're doing what you want to do. Like you just share the distaste for black people that they do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these guys had David Duke on the show. Did you know that? You know, they had the Klan wizard on the show, and it wasn't like, hey, why do you feel this way about us? It was like, so what else you want to talk about? Sort of like the way Candace Owens, when she went on the Stephen A. Smith show, he didn't bring up shit that she said. Charlamagne did the same thing. When he brought Candace Owens on, he had 10 years of Candace Owens saying, black people ain't shit. And black people are dysfunctional. Black people don't know how to do business. Black people, just all types of violent black people. Everybody killed by cops, it was always the black person's fault. From 2 to 80. Don't matter what the situation was, whether they were armed or unarmed, sleep in their bed, it don't matter. And Charlamagne had her on the show, and he didn't even bring the shit up. He was, so what else can we talk about, Candace? Talk to her like she was a serious person. Like she wasn't a sellout. And talk like she was not a sellout. So yeah, man, I just want things to be clear, man. I think the days of the grifter is plentiful because unfortunately we have a society where there are a number of conservatives with deep pockets, sort of like the ones that funded Turning Point USA to the tune of $90 million, I think it was, annually. It's some crazy number. I don't know. Yeah. So there's always going to be money available there. As long as there's money to sell out black people, there'll be white people, but particularly black people who are willing to do just about anything to get it. So I'm not saying it's over. What I'm saying is they break their toys when they're done. And that's why I like Nick Fuentes coming on the scene, because he's willing to tell them, no, you are a token, and we don't like you. You're not talented. You don't have no real ability, and we don't do the DEI shit here, sir. So get out of here, darky. And I appreciate that, because I want them to be, I don't want them to be homeless, but I do want them to have to learn a hard lesson. You know what I'm saying? I don't wish homelessness, poverty on anybody, even people that make horrible content. But I do wish them to get comeuppance. All the puppets. Yeah, I do wish for that. Yeah, when you have on David Duke, Jake Shields, and Nick Fuentes, come on, what are we even discussing here? Are we really having a conversation about are these people sellouts? Is that it? So anyway, if you're new to YouTube, go ahead and make your content about the grifting conservative, black conservatives. But somebody, please, look, somebody else, make a video about the black conservative perspective. Somebody get his ass, because, I mean, his content is horrible. Him, Doc Rich, LFR be looking like a slave. LFR. And this guy's local, so I'm gonna have a conversation with him, but I gotta say, he be looking like a slave sometimes. It's always sweaty. Was it the twister never twisted? I know he just looked dirty. He looked dirty, but he's just like, coins, please. Coins for grifting. And this is what I noticed. I just noticed these things, fam. There's a lot. The grifters always look broke down, and they do the best grifting. Why? I come out here, look at this shit. You know what I'm saying? Grifters come out and they just look like shit. You see Doc Rich, does he have a hairline? Has he ever had a hairline? He's young. He should have a hairline. None of these guys have hairlines. None of them have testosterone. I don't know, man. What is it? And it's like, I'm just saying, I don't know. Hodge twins got the dirty beards. That's like the starter pack, isn't it? Man, oh man, oh man. It is what it is, man. Hey man, I'm opinionated as hell, and I'm just gonna tell you how I feel about it, you know. Oh, I wanna also, before we move on, tonight's gonna be a long show. Yeah, tonight's gonna be a long ass show. So I want my moderators to know if you gotta leave, I'ma understand, man. But I must say, there are women grifters. Yeah, there's a couple women grifters that are very distasteful, to say the least. I'm wondering, like, what white supremacists bid winch, like, how much did they sell their kids for? Do people have your children? Did they kidnap your children, hold them for ransom, and force you to make that content, Miss Chapman? I'm just saying, Miss Chapman, that's what I saw her, and I'm like, every time I see her, she's just like, hi. And that's like, you way too cherry to be such a sellout. Sellouts should not be cherry when they do content. It should be like, oh Lord, I's gotta do this for the money. I know I's wrong. Eyes knows. She just have to break out into a Negro spirit. Eyes knows, eyes wrong. But she all perky, like she got some, like she is legitimate. Like she, you know, it was just so she could go see Trump. Go see Trump. She was so happy when she went to see went to Kirk's. I think Erica Kirk, Turning Point USA, funded her to come out to the memorial service with Charlie Kirk. She was so happy to do that video. She looked beaming. She looked beaming. Oh God, I can't believe I'm here. Yeah, all it took is for your leader to get shot in his throat blown out for you to be able to get a ticket. But hey, enjoy. Welcome to the Sunshine State. You know, whatever, man. As long as you had a good time. As long as you get to wear that. And that looks good on you, sister. And there are others. There's like a set of four black women. I'm like, where'd they find these? Where'd they find these bargain bin Candace Owens is at? You know what I'm saying? Like, someone dug, you had to dig, and they're all bad. None of these people I'm talking about are talented. I'm saying it's like four black women. What's the name of it? The Consolidated Grifting Conservative Hoochie Mamas. I don't know, but I swear, I feel like somebody just closed their eyes and stuck their hand in a bargain bin of conservative knockoff Candace Owens. It was like, it just picked them randomly. And none of them had the ability to hold your attention for more than 26 seconds. That's why it's like 5 of them on the podcast, because it'd be like, hey, how are you? And it's, hey, how are you? Hi. And it's like they just got to keep doing that. So in today's news, we have this thing to talk about. That doesn't make much sense. And they're just bad, man. If you know who I'm talking about, put in the comment section. Don't make me look bad. I know it's like couch or sofa or IKEA, the IKEA conservatives or something, IKEA couch. Salvation Army, Goodwill couch. Peace Stain mattress conservatives, something like that. Something bad, Johnson. I don't know their names. I would say, you know what I'm talking about? I'm for real, man. I'm not playing. I don't know their names. The View casting couch. Nah, man. Nah, these are not the View. I don't know what the. Somebody know. Oh.
What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words.
Yo. That's it. Papa Politics gets it. Papa Politics, you win a free mug. Papa Politics, DM us or email us at client care at timblackTV.com. Client care at timblackTV.com. We're going to send you out a mug. I mean, shit. You deserve it because I never was going to think of that. I know a pop in politics. They don't have no pop. How you going to, no pop in their pop in politics. Anyway, so that's who it is. And I just thought I'd give them some love, man. Help them out in the algorithm. Nothing like 1, 2, 3, 4 Aunt Jemimas in one place. Actually, I don't even want to call them Aunt Jemimas because wasn't she like an enterprising sister? Four broke-ass Stacey Dashes. Yeah, when you look up to Stacey Dash like, I want my career to be just like you, you know something ain't right, Johnson. Something is wrong, Johnson. When you look up to Omarosa is your hero. You know something wrong. Yeah, man, that's when something is definitely wrong. God damn. What is wrong with you? I want to be just like that. All right, Johnson. So look, we got content tonight. This is Robbie Meyer at the Tim Black Wolfpack. All the VIPs of my show, and I got nothing but love and respect for them.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
these people keep the lights on here at the Tim Black Show. So become a VIP. Go ahead and go over to jointimblack.com. Type in jointimblack.com and sign up for $5 a month. And I already know, like if you're the type of person, I think you're the type of person that understands that if we don't fund what we got, we get what they give us. So we gotta stand up for what we stand up on. And that's it, man. I just if you like the content, subscribe, become a member, cut on all notifications as we proceed to give you what you need. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time tonight, but we gotta start off. We gotta punch them. Y'all ready? I said, are you ready? Say, can we get some shares on X? Anybody on X out here? We got any X watchers? Do we have anybody on Facebook? I got any Facebook people? Any Facebook people in the building? I'm looking for these people, man. I'd like to shout them out if I could. X or Facebook? My man said, yo. Yeah, I'm not saying you got to go with the tribe. Like, I'm not saying you got to be a Democrat. Yeah, look, I want to be clear. I'm not saying you got to be a Democrat to get respect. All I'm saying is stop being a sucker for the Republicans and for the conservative grift. Like, stop doing that. Stop lying. You know these people be phony, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, man. All right, we good. So now we got to put our content up, Johnson. Let me make sure it should be ready. Yeah, we good to go. Yeah, see, I don't know. I have things that I got to process. See, I had to process some things. Some things had to process while I was talking. See, Sterling, you don't know, man. You think you know, but you don't know. I had to do all that. If I made you sit for 20 minutes with more music, your ass would have left. But let's get into this show real quick. Yeah, brother got skills. Had to diverge. Had to use a diversion tactic.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
All right, get this out of here, John. There we go. Let's do this.
And here's the other thing that is quite unprecedented. And it was the tightest, closest presidential election in the 21st century. He does not have a mandate. Closest presidential election in the 21st century. He does not have a mandate. That is not a mandate. That is not a mandate. So we remember, and you got it too, Carlos.
I had to give you your moment.
But the other thing, and you and I have talked about this.
Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me. 107 Days is a victim's title because, get it, she only had 107 days to win. Yeah, and $1.5 billion and a built-in army of about 75 million people who'd vote for any human-adjacent life form that wasn't Trump. But in 107 days, nothing is ever Kamala's fault. Biden lets her down by not stepping down sooner. Pouty face emoji. Gavin Newsom, he was asked for his endorsement, but texted, "Hiking, we'll call back." But then never did. And then he didn't even ask her to prom. America itself lets Kamala down by not being ready for the running mate she really wanted, Pete Buttigieg. So she's stuck with the Home Depot paint salesman. And the rest is herstory. Poor Kamala. We made her the star of a rom-com and didn't even give her a gay best friend. Kamala writes that on election night, when it was clear she lost, an aide peeled the words "Madam President" off the cupcakes before handing them out. Oh, geez, that's like a scene from Bridget Jones Runs for President, for Christ's sake.
The problem is not that Kamala's campaign was too short, it's that it was too long. That when people actually listened to what she had to say, her polling went down and down and down. I think that if we had a 150-day campaign, we probably would have had 3 additional Republican senators, and Donald Trump would have won by an even bigger landslide, because the more people know about Kamala Harris, the more they realize there's no substance there. I mean, agree or disagree with Barack Obama or Bill Clinton, they actually had substance. They could actually articulate a viewpoint. I listened to Kamala Harris for 90 seconds, and I actually feel like I've gotten dumber in the process, and I have no idea what she actually believes. That's the problem with Kamala Harris, and it's going to continue to be her problem unless she actually learns how to develop a viewpoint, articulate it for the American people. Just say what you actually believe. Don't do this word salad, talking around in circles. It doesn't work, and it's why she didn't win.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Damn it. Give me the claps. Yeah. Wow. So Kamala has a vivid memory of losing and obviously doesn't remember things very well from the past. Let's clear some things up before I even get into my dialogue on her. Let's get into some facts, because that's what we want to ride on. Facts that punch him in the mouth. Okay, so Kamala said she made a statement, and I'm not saying anybody correct her about the mandate thing. You know, there's no legitimate amount of votes to have to get a mandate. It's not a technical term it's not as solid as a rock. You know, if you do this, you get a mandate, which means you can do this. No, it's no exact number that you get this thing, which is like you get permission to be president. No, that's called winning, Kamala. See, you win and you get to be president. You get this, you get a pin. Okay, so The 2016 presidential election, Donald Trump lost the national popular vote to Hillary Clinton. But he still won the presidency. So you could say you got a lot of votes, but you did not win the popular vote. Trump lost the popular vote to Hillary in 2016. He won the Electoral College. And he beat you by, 80 points in the Electoral College? A lot more resoundingly in the Electoral College than he did Hillary Clinton. So if you look at back historically, other than the fact that more people voted this time, I would say Hillary did a better job than you because she actually did win the popular vote. Kamala Harris did not win the popular vote, so I don't even know what she's talking about. What else did she say? She said, if you look at the hard facts, this wasn't a squeaker. It was a clear win that gives Trump the green light to lead. In fact, folks, if we go back historically, we start looking at things in other elections. Remember 2000? That's when Bush, he won, but he didn't win because Bush was the closest overall. It had to be decided at the Supreme Court. Bush Gore was the closest. Some people don't even think Bush won that shit. Now, you mean to tell me you think that your race was tighter than that? When they had to go to court to find out who won? All right, fine. The GOP's popular win biggest popular win was 2004, Bush, okay? Bush killed it. He had a 2.4 popular vote margin over whoever that was. I forget who he ran against in 2004. Okay, so Obama did well both times. Trump, like I said, he lost the popular vote in 2016. Biden had a clear popular vote win over Trump, and he won the Electoral College, just like Trump had over you in 2024. But let's be clear here, guys, and people need to know this. Trump didn't just beat Kamala Harris. He didn't just edge her out. He beat her resoundingly. He flipped 7 swing states. He crushed her in the Electoral College, as I stated, not by 80 points, but by 86 points. He pulled the biggest raw vote total ever for a candidate. Yeah, he ran a Boston on Kamala Harris. And this heifer's running around telling people at these rallies trying to sell her book that she did a great job. I don't know if she knows what a great job is, but it can't be where you lose the House, the Senate, the presidency, and lose 7 swing states. And the person sets a record against you, getting the most votes in history. Yeah, that would count. So this mandate myth is just that. A myth, not a thing that you can believe in. Trump got 49.8 plus Republican control of the House and Senate, a unified government for the first time in years. That's a stronger setup than Biden had in 2021. Voters didn't just tolerate him, they turned out in record numbers to say, go time on the economy, on reform, on immigration reform. That's what it was. Those were the things he ran on, and that's what he's doing. Well, you ain't got to like him. You ain't got to clap for him. I damn sure know Kamala wouldn't. But what I'm saying is the American people chose who they chose. And Kamala's still walking around talking about this shit. She wrote a book that I don't know who's going to read it. Why would anybody subject themselves to a bunch of whining from a loser? Let's be clear, fam. She deserved to lose. She didn't run on anything. To this day, people can't tell you what Kamala ran on. Though they're convinced they would have been happier under Kamala, but they can't tell me why. They just say she would have done things that Trump didn't do. They can't tell me what those things are. So here we go. In the book, this book she's walking around, this 107 days. First of all, I want people to think about this for a second. Should it take 100 days to tell people about your presidency? All of us have had job interviews. I don't think we've ever had an interview that lasted 100 days. I don't give a shit what the interview is. If you can't consolidate and make it concise and tell the American people what you plan to do, in fact, I think it should only take like a week. Yeah, see, if it only took a week, if you only could run for office for 1 week instead of 18 months, it would cost $2 billion to run. Yeah, Kamala Harris blew like $2 billion. Some say 2.5, some say 1.5. I'm gonna go with 2. Okay? Cut the difference in half. What I'm saying is, I think it should take less time to run. Her whole book premise is that she didn't have enough time to beat Trump. You were vice president for 4 years. That don't count? You were in power. You're the most high-profile woman in America. That don't count? You had $2 billion. That wasn't enough? Man, I think we need shorter election times. We need shorter cycles for elections. The general election, most of the countries don't have an open campaign for any office for 18 months a year. Now, this is just crazy talk. And that's why it's so rigged. And that's why it takes all this money to run, because it's a long, drawn-out process. If candidates had to convey exactly what they're going to do in like a week, they start off telling you, they jump right, get right to that shit. They would come out, they would say, look, I'm going to do this. So this is what I stand for. This is what I'm going to do. There'll be no time for word salad. Most Americans, I think, want less word salad. If we want more truth, we want more direct talk. Yeah, you come in, you tell people what your plan is. You have a debate. Maybe you have 2 debates. And that's it. People go vote. They go decide based on that. I mean, really, guys, think about it. Did you really have a hard time picking who you were going to vote for? Come on, man. You knew you didn't win. If you was in the tank for Trump, you had already made your mind up before you knew. Before election day. Like, it's not like who went to the election day, to election day was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make my mind up when I go on in to vote. Ain't even thought about this shit. Nah, man, you went in, you probably knew. I'm a guess, and I'm gonna say, based on myself and based on people I know, based on doing this show, 1, 2, 3, 4 elections, 4 elections. I would say 90% of the time, people already knew who they were going to vote for. They all had a pretty good idea. And the other people were already leaning. They just wanted to keep hope alive. They were like, I kind of feel this way, but maybe But most people already knew what they were going to vote for. It's not like they needed a year to come to that conclusion. Not the general. Maybe the primary. You know, primary, maybe need a little bit more time in the primary because it's a bigger field. But even that could be shorter. That could be shorter. So what's in this book, fam? I know you want to know what's in the damn book. Okay, let me tell you what's in the book. A bunch of crying, a bunch of pointing fingers, bunch of blame. In fact, Kamala blames everybody except Kamala. Everybody catches Trey. She calls out Obama, Buttigieg, Tim Walz, Shapiro. I mean, she called everybody names. Like, I don't even know. Like, obviously her political career is over, right? It's done. No more shot. No more doing. I don't know what she's going to do. Maybe she's going to open up a YouTube channel. Maybe she'll do that. Maybe she'll do like Joy Reid and open up a YouTube channel. The Kamala Harris Show. You know what I'm saying? Because what else can she do, man? Her political career is done. She shitted on the Democratic Party. She blamed the Democrats for the whole thing. It's all their fault. It's Biden's fault. It's Obama's fault. Everybody's fault. So basically, what could she run as? She ain't gonna be able to run as a Democrat if she tries to run in office. What's she gonna run as? She blamed Newsom. How did Newsom owe her anything? Like, I'm not a Newsom fan. I'm not a Newsom fan. But Newsom didn't owe her anything. Probably saw his competition. Probably didn't like her very much. But she threw him under the bus in the book. Anybody she could blame, she blamed. So now she's got no career. She's got no future. So basically, all those black women that spent all that damn money. Remember all that money those black women raised on that Zoom call? They were all proud of themselves. We raised this money in 2 days. Look at us. They could have used that shit for their own communities. Yeah, giving it to Kamala Harris, she just gave it to her friends. She just bought favors in the future from Al Sharpton, Roland Martin, Oprah Winfrey. Because she won't be a politician anymore, Johnson. So basically, you put your money into a dead stock. Yeah, you threw a bunch of money into, I don't know, Circuit City. Circuit City stock. I don't know if you noticed or not, but there isn't more Circuit City. Yeah, you put all your money in a Blockbuster. And then the block got busted. So let's be clear here, Johnson. When you shit on the Democratic Party, believe me, I know, your future with the Democrats is done. You're through. Ask Nina Turner. Ask her. It's over. I love Nina Turner. That's no diss to her. I'm just saying she knows how dirty and petty the Democrats are. First person that came to mind. So if she does try to run again, what's she going to do? Run as a Green Party member? Well, let me tell you this, sister, and I know a little something about the Green Party. If you try to run for office as a Green Party candidate, you ain't going to be raising no $1 billion. Damn sure ain't going to be $2 billion. Ain't going to be $1 billion. Hell, I doubt if it's 500,000. I see you. If you run as a Green Party, you'd be lucky to get $20,000, a box of stamps, a bus transfer, and 2 pounds of weed. Now, I say 2 ounces of weed. There you go. Not the good shit either. You know what I'm saying? Not the good shit. But, you know, because that's it. You're done. It's nothing else. What you going to do, become a Republican? I don't know if they'll have you. So Kamala Harris's tour is a bore. It's whack. It's a slap in the face to all the people that supported her. And you saw the clip. They're clapping for her. They got to. The grift is still going on, but at the end of the day, she's going to be working with her husband in the business in Hollywood, just like the Obamas. Stay on the lookout for the Kamala Harris podcast. It's going to be serving a lot of cheese and wine. Lots of wine. A box wine. Yeah, that's going to be our sponsor. Bocella Wines. What's the big wine company? Bellagio Wines? Yeah. She's going to be sponsored by the wine company because she's going to be drunk and she's going to be doing a lot of whining. Anyway, let me know what you think about this segment. I think it's over for Kamala. Couldn't happen to a better person. I saw this coming. My condolences to all the women that put their hopes and prayers into Kamala Harris. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. She was an empty vessel, and she stayed empty the whole time. But that's it. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. Let me get out of there, man. Jesus Christ. Next. Kamala Chameleon.
Next on deck with Tim Black. Next on deck with Tim Black.
But let me ask you, because you say this is a Republican shutdown, but it's Democratic senators who are withholding their votes on what is called a clean resolution. That means no strings attached, which is something, quite frankly, Leader, that you and other Democrats have advocated for in the past. Take a look.
You do not use the threat of shutting down government to try to advance your policy agenda.
First thing that the House has to do is pass a clean 6-week CR.
A continuing resolution that is at the fiscal year 2023 levels is the only way forward.
While, like the Democrats, I'm protective of the ACA, their efforts to shut down the government violate my time and place rule. because Republicans have advanced a clean continuing resolution. This is not the time and place to litigate health insurance policy. The objective should be to fund the obligations already made by the Congress. And if the result is catastrophic insurance losses and premium hikes for consumers, the solution should come in next year's midterm election. Meanwhile, 700,000 federal employees are being used as pawns. It's not fair to them and will only discourage others from seeking federal employment, as well as damage Americans' faith in the workings of their government.
Next on Deck with Tim Black.
Yeah, Johnson, and that's what I'm saying. I put a tweet out about this, guys, and I want to make this clear to everybody checking it out. I stand on it. Listen, everybody shitted on Trump, and rightly so, because they cut so many jobs from the federal government, right? When you start looking at the numbers of jobs that were cut, things look a little bit different. Anyone cites this 300,000 jobs, 300,000 jobs, 300,000 jobs. Okay. That wasn't all Doge. 200,000 of the 300,000 were people that took packages, severance packages. They took it early out. They took their money with them. About 100,000 people were asked to leave, so that's 100,000. And I understand, like I said, I got no problems with people being upset about that. I got people that were mad at me. I don't know why they were mad at me. I didn't cause it. But anyway, they were mad because I wasn't mad enough about it. But here's the thing. Democrats just shut down the government. 700,000 people are out of work right now because of that. And they say it's cuts for a good reason. Now, let me get this right. When the Republicans, last time it was a shutdown, Trump wanted the border wall. People said it was wrong for Trump to try to shut down the government, or have Republicans shut down the government to try to get funding for his border wall. It said, that's not how you're supposed to do it, Trump. You're not supposed to do this when we try to keep the government open. If you want to try to win legislatively, we come to the table, we negotiate, but we don't use the government and our federal workers as ransom. This is what all the networks are saying. So what's so different now? What's so different now is that it's the Democrats who want something. So that means everybody's got to fall in line and pretend not to know the Democrats are doing the same shit Trump did. Democrats say they want the ACA to be refunded or something, to be continually funded, and it's not over yet. That's not up until, I think it's December. Like, it's not even time for it to be over yet. But this is their leverage that they want to use, is to use the federal government. So how's that right? How is it fair that the Democrats can get away with a shutdown of the government, not get scrutinized from their own party, not get scrutinized from its own voters, have a bunch of sellouts go on all these mainstream shows and cry crocodile tears for people that haven't even lost their health coverage yet? And to hold 700,000 federal workers' jobs ransom, while Trump stiff arms it and says, no, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, depending on who you watch, you get different takes on this. But also know this, and this is important. Each week the government shutdown goes, it costs us money. How much money? 0.1 percentage points in that GDP growth. That sounds like nothing. 0.1, Tim, that's not even 1 point, it's 0.1 point, right? Okay, but that is translated into $7 billion weekly. A $7 billion weekly price tag on our economy. It says the U.S. could lose $15 billion of its GDP each week the shutdown extends. The more severe, the lasting the economic consequences will be. So the longer this goes on, the more money it costs our economy. So remember, all this shit y'all talking, they're saying all these things. Trump's been bad for the economy. This thing costs the economy. This is going to hurt the economy. Guess what's hurting the economy right now? The government shutdown. And Democrats can end it right now. They can end the shutdown tomorrow. But no one's calling them out for fucking up the economy right now. What they're doing right now is screwing the economy, trying to embezzle. Not embezzle, that's a harsh word. What's it? Trying to blackmail Trump to sign an agreement about funding when right now what he's offering is to keep things the way they were a week ago. And I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's fantastic. I'm just calling out the double standard. The continuing resolution is a continuation of the money spending at the levels that it was before the resolution. So if you said, hey, man, we're going to spend $2,000 a month on expenses, we still spending $2,000 a month on expenses. That's not a change. That's a continuing resolution. I know that's a simplification, but I want people to understand what I'm talking about. What I'm saying, and very clearly here for people to get. A month-long shutdown could reduce consumer spending by $30 billion. That's a lot of money, $30 billion. That's more than we give Ukraine and Israel put together, isn't it? Yeah. People complain about it. No one's complaining about the Democrats costing upwards of that $7 billion a week. So I just want to point these things out because I noticed a lot of channels covering this shutdown. None of them are talking about the Democrats wasting our damn money while they go through this exercise, while they try to punk Trump, while they try to score points, because this is the only thing they got. See, previous segment I talked about Kamala doing her book tour, bragging about Trump doesn't have a mandate. You know what the Democrats don't have? They don't have a right to shut down the government and knock 700,000 federal workers out of their jobs in a hissy fit because they don't have any power. Right is right. Reopen the government, you assholes. All right. Give it up for that. Let's keep it moving.
Black.
Second autopsy was done on Trey Reed's body, and we now know that this was not a suicide. Here's what we know. They found evidence of blunt force trauma to the back of his head. They also did not find any evidence that shows that he was hanging from a tree for hours. What they found through their autopsy was that he was possibly manually strangled and then placed in the tree after his death. We also now know that he had an altercation the day before with 4 white students, and the reason why is because he was coming to the defense of his younger sister, who was under attack by these guys for comments she made online about Charlie Kirk's death. Yeah, the authorities are saying that they have identified these 4 students, and we cannot leave this alone until we see the end of it. This is like literally all hands on deck because we know how corrupt all of this already is based on how the police treated this from the start. So we need people speaking about this. If you're speaking about it, tell your friends to repost. If you see a post about this, repost it.
Trey Reed's second autopsy came back and they ass in trouble. Delta State University is in trouble. I told y'all that they were gonna lie. I told y'all they were trying to cover that shit up. Look at this shit. Blunt force trauma to the back of the head. Hear me out. Blunt force trauma to the back of the head. Y'all some pussies. Y'all had to wait till that man back would turn just to knock him out, just to get him in the tree. And I told y'all, people from Mississippi don't unalive themselves by hanging themselves. What really pissed me off that it was black men in my inbox telling me that, oh, you act like black men don't hang themselves. They don't. They don't. Where you from? Another thing, for the people that telling me to shut up and stop posting the family, me and Trey Reed mama already talked. We talked like 2 weeks ago. She had already hit me up and was thanking me. I'm not even gonna show y'all the message, but I am gonna say this. She said that she's not scared. She's not running. They doing everything in this world to break that woman. At least y'all can do is support her. Because remember, Delta State University, they lied to this lady. In the first hour of them finding Trey Reed in a tree, they had already said he did it himself. It was a suicide. I told y'all that was a lie. And I keep getting this message right here. The chief of police is black. The coroners, they black. The DA is black. Why would they cover everything up? Shit, that's what we trying to find out. That's what we trying to find out. Why would they cover it up? Guess it's better than mine. Matter of fact, ask Delta State why they covering it up. Ask Delta State how much money they paid them to try to cover it up. The thing is that Delta State University didn't know that they were going to do a second autopsy. Because let's just be honest, how did you miss the blunt force trauma on the first autopsy? How did you miss that? Ain't no way y'all missed that. Money. Let me just say this as well. They know exactly who did it to Trey Reed. They know exactly how many it was. They even know the names who did it. Guess what? They gonna hide that too. You really think them white folks and let their kid be all over the news, they gonna fuck their whole family history up? That shit ain't finna happen. Them white folks finna pay how much money they can pay to save their kids' face. Like I told y'all, all this shit is about money, and saving their family face. Now, the way they did Trey Reed was probably like a 2 or 3 minute process. It hit him back of the head, knocked him unconscious. It had to been like 3 or 4 people just to pull this shit off. Y'all gotta remember, that rope was already tied and ready to go. But once they knocked him out, only thing they had to do was put the rope around him and just and go. That's a 2 or 3 minute process with 3 or 4 dudes involved. It happened that fast. Now, all the students that's at Delta State University, y'all better listen up and listen up closely. Them kids that did that to Trey Reed, they gonna get away scot-free. One of y'all gonna be next. One of y'all gonna be next, because guess what? If they get away now, they gonna feel like they can keep getting away with the shit. Walk around in groups if you have to. Use air tags. If you walk by yourself, be on the phone with somebody that can protect you, that's close by to you. Like I said before, stop the partying down there. Right now, shit finna get hot for Delta State. Shit finna get hot for Delta State University right now. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna pay attention and see what Delta State University got to say about all this shit that's going on and why they lied. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this shit.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Okay, man. I want you guys to look out for Bug Hawkins. Bug_Hawkins at TikTok. That's the second gentleman that was speaking about Trey. And let's be in contact with him, as well as follow the Benjamin Crump. The Benjamin at Ben Crump, his account's on Instagram. I think it's his most active account. Follow these key figures or activist Crystal Muhammad from the new Black Panther Party chair, who discussed unverified details on the podcast. And I think that she was on the Willie D podcast, if I'm not mistaken. And her handle is Crystal at Crystal Muhammad, Crystal with a K. All right. Now, this is what I got to say, man. And believe me, guys, I'm concerned about it. I've covered the Trey Reed case on this channel before, but I gotta add this, right? I can't get access to the autopsy myself. I don't feel good about not being able to see this myself, particularly the first things that were made. The first person that was speaking from TikTok who says they see a motive. I don't know, man. I gotta find more information. What are you basing this motive on? That he made a comment about Charlie Kirk, and then it just seems a little convenient. That's all. Seems a little convenient, and I need to see where you got that information from. And since I don't have since there's no public access to the second of the independent autopsy has not been released, I can't truly stand on it. Yeah, but I'm gonna come out to my audience and say, hey, this is what we got. I want to at least be able to read over the autopsy before I make that comment. Do I believe that we can trust the university? I don't think we can. They gave they gave the mother one set of information initially, then they had to go back and change all that. I don't trust them at all. That doesn't mean I trust what I'm getting now without corroboration. I think it's bad journalism. It's bad reporting. It's also not smart. It's not fair to people to tell them things without being able to source it. Not in a situation like this. We're gonna have black people in arms, even more so. We're gonna have black people on high alert without any information. I can't do that. What I can say is follow that brother. He seems very sincere to me. He sounds like he's in touch with the mom. He made claims that he's talking to mom. Maybe mom has the information, just hasn't been formally released. If I'm wrong, guys, and you saw the autopsy, you've been able to find it, send me a link. Let a brother know, because I'd be more than happy to report on it further. It's just gotta be cautious. Not for any other reason then. I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to I don't want to scare a bunch of young people without verification. There are black students at that university, and I'm sure they're already up in arms. I don't want to add to it without knowing that I'm doing so for a good reason. So let me know. Contact me at tim@timblacktv.com. Until then, find Bug Hawkins. Bug. My bad. Let me get his name back on the screen, Johnson. Bug at BUGG_Hawkins. Follow him. He's on Facebook and of course TikTok. All right? All right, guys. Let me know what you think about this segment. It's a tough one. But that young brother, we need to find out what happened to him, and we need to be sure that our information is accurate. Whatever we find out, I will definitely report it right here on this channel to bring you up to speed. All right, my condolences to the family, to his mom, to his friends. Our thoughts are with you, and we want justice for Trey Reed. All right. Let's keep going, guys.
State University got to say about all this shit that's going on and why they lied, and we're going to get to the bottom of this shit.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Dave Chappelle said that it was in the press today saying that you can speak more freely over here than in America.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
Oh, it's not true.
No.
Yeah,
No.
do your hunk on Muhammad, Dave.
Yeah. Well, he's a Muslim, David.
I understand.
So it depends on who you are and what you want to talk about.
Okay, so at the end of it said, Dave Chappelle told the audience of 6,000 that he feared returning to the United States because he believes they're going to do something to me so that I can't say what I want to say. He then told fans that in order to alert them of anything or if something had happened, he would use a code phrase. It's got to be something I would never say in practice. So if I actually say it, you know never to listen to anything else I say after that. Here's the phrase. I stand with Israel. All right. So Tim Black, what's all this talking about, man? Well, Dave Chappelle was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He did the comedy special. He made jokes about Charlie Kirk. He made statements about censorship in the United States being worse than Saudi Arabia. And a lot of people don't understand where he's coming from about that. They're pissed at him because he's in Saudi Arabia. It's not like he's the first comedian to go to Saudi Arabia. Shit, 49 other comedians are there with him or went there with him. For some reason, ain't a lot of smoke for them. Well, some of them it is. Bill Burr, Kevin Hart, they getting a lion's share of the smoke. But there are 47 other people that are right there getting that money, baby. Just like this, like this. And we ain't talking about a few $1,000s. We're talking about millions. I think Dave Chappelle probably could ask for a couple mil. It's a festival. It's been going on for 2 weeks. They had a big budget for it. They got the money. They got oil. So, yeah, okay. And if you watch my videos on it, in a nutshell, my basic opinion about it is this. America does business with Saudi Arabia. Why should not American citizens do business with Saudi Arabia? I know why you might not want to do it. I know why a lot of people might have bad feelings about it. I mean, they killed an American journalist that worked at the Washington Post, chopped him up and put him in the suitcase. I think that's the going narrative that happened. I don't think anybody denied that happened. I think I even heard a tape of them doing it. Can't get that out of my memory. Okay, so and like cut the radio up and it was some gruesome shit, man. Anyway, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. America does business with Saudi Arabia. So like I said, so Americans can't do business with Saudi Arabia. Well, let me get this right. Only America, the country, can make money off of Saudi Arabia, even though there have been other comedians go perform in Saudi Arabia before this. Okay, it's not like this is the first time, like, oh my God, now let's start going. Now they've been going. They've been going. Let's face it, man. America's got a lot of shit with us. Okay, it's what it is. So that's my opinion on this. And look, I'm not trying to score views off of it. It is what it is. You think that comedians should be able to make the same money that we make selling bombs and arms to Saudi Arabia, same way we do when we got interest in certain Middle Eastern countries that do horrible things to their citizens or whatever the shit? Or what about the horrible things America does to its citizens? That'd be kind of something to pay attention to. How many comedians don't come to America because we do shit to our citizens? How many entertainers, musicians, artists, Bad Bunny's gonna come here. He talking a lot of shit, but he still will come here and perform, ain't he? Yeah, because the NFL offered him a lot of money. He gonna come talk shit, but he also gonna be here. But see what I'm saying? I mean, it's not just American comedians that are willing to, do things. The whole world's this way. Not everybody. But anyway, so that's my opinion. Don't like Dave Chappelle for it, fine. But what I think is more interesting is the comment he made about censorship. And it took me thinking about it a couple, different ways, and really, I don't know, kind of letting it sift around in my brain. What does he mean when he says you got less freedom of speech in America than you do in Saudi Arabia? When they got a country that they told this guy, they said, look, they said, Dave, all the comedians, they said, you cannot talk about the royal family and don't talk about something I think was gay or something. Okay, so they had stipulations. And now I think I figured it out, guys. Why is America more censoring? Why is America's free speech more closed off than Saudi Arabia, in Dave's opinion? I don't know what his opinion is exactly. I can tell you why I think. In America, you get canceled for random shit. In Saudi Arabia, they say, hey, you coming in? Okay, cool. Don't talk about us. Don't talk about our royal family, and don't talk about Muhammad. Don't talk about religion, and don't talk about the royal family. Talk about anything else you want. Okay, fine. That's the deal. That's rules. You can decide, hey, I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. But see, in America, it's different. People say you can talk about whatever you want. And then when you talk about some shit, then they say, hey, you talked about that. I thought we had free speech. I thought we could talk about whatever you want. So that's the difference, Johnson. That's the difference. You say you down for whatever, and then you get mad when I do whatever. Why didn't you just say what was off limits? That's what I'm saying. That's what I think Dave's pointing at. Depending on when the wind blows. And another thing, Saudi Arabia, I don't think they're going to change their mind tomorrow about the rules. Yeah, they have two rules. They say no Muhammad, right? And no royal family. No royal family, no Muhammad. That's it. Two things. If you go back 5 years later or 10 years later in the future, you go, whatever. I don't think they're going to retroactively come after you, right, for talking about something else. They gave you a firm two things to take out of your jokes. Kevin Hart lost the Oscars, or he lost hosting the Oscars. Why? Because 15 years ago, he made a tweet. Real talk. 15 years ago. It wasn't even X, it was Twitter. And it was 15 years ago. He made a tweet that didn't even get taken down. He lost the Oscars because people jumped forward 15 years, decided that was the main thing to say. And it was a joke about his son. It wasn't even about a group of people. It was about his son. And they took the biggest gig at the time for him would have been hosting the Oscars. They took that away from him because they felt a certain kind of way. And it wasn't even because they felt a certain kind of way. It's because other people felt a certain kind of way. See, the Saudi Arabia, at least they're saying, this is what we want. It ain't based on public opinion. It's not some women's group or some LGBTQ group or some other ADL group that's now pissed off and does a petition It does a photo drive. What the Republicans do, what the conservatives do, they boycott and do all this shit. Nah, it wasn't like that, right? It wasn't Al Sharpton getting a bone up his ass. What's a target, right? To make a couple dollars. No. To prove irrelevant. No. It's the federal government or their government saying, these are two things. Don't do this, you're good. Do this, you die. But don't do this, you're good. And so it's very difficult to work in America because they will retroactively go for you, come for you. That is unstable. That is unreliable. Fam, I got a strike for a video that I did 10 years ago that I got off YouTube and reacted from. I reacted from the video that was on YouTube. Hold on, let me clear that. A couple years ago, I got a strike on my YouTube for a video that I reacted to that was on YouTube. Because they went back and said, you should have this on your channel. Hold on a second. It's been on my channel for 10 years. I have 5,000 videos on my channel. On this channel has over 5,000 videos. The video that I did was a video reacting to a video that's on YouTube. They gave me a strike for that shit. I could not live stream for 2 weeks because of that. So what I'm saying is that America and a lot of their corporations and social media, they are very flimsy. They make decisions willy-nilly. They make decisions based on who's in office. Look at our immigration shit. Like, I want a border. I think if you're going to have a country, you got to have a border. You can't have a yard if you don't know which yard is yours and which yard's the other yard. Hey, I don't think you got a wife if you don't have paperwork. I mean, you gotta have rules, motherfuckers. I don't even know why it's a conversation that progressives, and then I get canceled for having that opinion. It don't even make fucking sense. You know, you get a bill of sale. I get a bill of sale for this phone. It's my phone. But if I have a way to prove it's mine, how's it mine? Anyway, point is, I think you need borders. We got gates. We got fences for reasons. Why have a gate or a fence or border if people don't have to respect it? If anybody can come over, and if they got kids, oh no, you can't protect your border. That's dumb shit. But the problem is this. The problem is, it all depends on who's in office. Yeah, we have flimsy laws in America. We got flimsy, if we have the same laws, we have flimsy execution or upholding of those laws. So people don't know what to do. Right? People came in under a different president who basically looked the other way. And all those people now in the harm's way because they relied on a president who looked the other way, who didn't change the laws, who just decided not to do shit, not to enforce them. So what Dave Chappelle says, and I'm not speaking for him, I don't know him, haven't met him, but I will see him this week when he comes here to Maryland. Shout out to Ben Jealous. I think Dave Chappelle is on to something. And it's something that we should take a serious look at as a country. I'm not saying we need to be like Saudi Arabia. Well, maybe I am. But only when it comes to having rules and sticking to them. We don't have to have the same rules. But we should be able to set rules and stick to those rules because people deserve to know where the line is. And that's part of the problem. No one knows where the lines are. And part of being a comedian is pushing the lines. And if you don't even know where they are, then shit. It's just tap dancing in the minefield. All right, guys, that's all I got. Let me know what you think about this segment. Next. I don't know how long this is. I've just kept this up for
Next on deck with Tim Black. Next on deck with Tim Black.
I am and where I'm at. This is Adam Clayton Powell. This is the building that everyone is in an uproar about. So as I said, South Shore, this is your community, your neighborhood, and this building was not majority black when the ICE came the other day.
Okay, this is Chicago, the topic of conversation about the raids that took place where they were rappelling off of the roof, and they had the military basically out there. So let's check it out.
Yes, black people were affected, but this building was overran by illegal Venezuelan gangs. And I just had several conversations with residents who are moving their stuff out of here that confirmed that. So stop letting media put that false narrative in your head that somebody coming for you, because they not. You was born here. You was born on this land. Rise up and stand up on something and stop letting any and everybody tell you.
I really want President Trump to declare martial law. And the reason why he needs to declare martial law, because people need to sit down. They need to sit down just like they declared COVID on us. They need to declare martial law, because at the end of the day, President Trump and Tom Homan tried to come in here and do it the right way, even though they're still doing it the right way. They're doing it the legal way. But they had to, at the end of the day, he had to make an executive decision because, again, President Trump is the commander-in-chief. He's the president of the United States of America. So we asked for this, okay? We're dealing with a genocide in our communities, black-on-black crime. Then we're dealing with illegal immigration crime. Then we're dealing with illegal immigration crime on us. We're dealing with displacement issues, and we have no leadership in the city of Chicago, in the state of Illinois, because it's ran by the cartel. So at the end of the day, drastic times, what do you say? Drastic times calls for drastic measures. So that's what it is. And please stop acting like y'all don't know what detainment is. Please stop acting like y'all don't, like this is the first time this is happening and all this stuff. At the end of the day, these Hispanics with these white liberals, they want this to be a George Floyd moment so bad. They want this to be a Rodney King moment so bad. They want this to be a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. moment so bad, a Malcolm X moment so bad. You'll never have that. You will never have that. And honestly, American citizens, people who are American first, stay out of it. This right here is an agenda that we don't want no part of. ICE is here for a reason. The Department of Homeland Security is here for a reason. The FBI is here for a reason. ATF is here for a reason, because they would not work with Donald Trump. Donald Trump and Tom Homan was trying to do this in January of 2025. We're in October of 2025. Okay? We're dealing with illegal immigration crime. We're dealing with black-on-black crime. We're dealing with thefts. We're dealing with robberies. We're dealing with our businesses leaving. The city of Chicago is running on fumes right now. So at the end of the day, President Trump, if they want to make it bigger than what they really want to take it there, declare martial law. Declare martial law like they declared COVID, because COVID was planned, and COVID is another reason why we are messed up economically, especially the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, because they knew exactly what they were doing. And I keep telling y'all keep talking about Project 2025. I advise y'all to look at the New Americans plan. It was 45 pages. Look at the New Americans plan. That is the plan that we're fighting right now, and President Trump is doing everything in his power to stop that. Ain't nobody thinking about no Project 2025.
All right, y'all. At this point,
man, hold on, man. Please stop saying whoever this guy is. Can y'all do me a favor? Somebody get word to dude. Stop saying black on black crime. Nobody says Asian on Asian crime. Nobody says white on white crime. No one says Latino on Latino crime. This is crime. It's crime on crime. That's all it is. Jesus Christ. All right. All right, let's keep going. I want people to hear this. It's important.
Y'all have really pissed me off, especially you so-called influencers who are taking parts of stories coming out of Chicago and using it for fucking clickbait and engagement. Now, I have been urging my people here to pause so that they can process things. Y'all talking about them coming down on that building out south. Whole time, that building used to be predominantly black. That building was predominantly Venezuelans, okay? There are people from that neighborhood that have been complaining about that building for a year, okay? They showed y'all broken windows and shit that were already there. These are the things that y'all have to stop doing. And this is why I keep telling people here in the city, particularly black people, pause so you can process. If y'all start responding to shit out of emotion, then you don't know what the fucking play is, because you haven't had time to actually think. What people are doing are trying to get a rise out of black Chicagoans, okay? That was one incident. Then you had the guy out west that had the accident, and they pulled him out, and one of the agents was choking him, and people were recording it, okay? So again, follow-ups to all of these things, never. Nobody ever comes back with the follow-up. They talking about, oh, they're arresting black people in Chicago. All of the black people that they took from that building on the south side were released. The 37 people that they detained were all Venezuelans who were part of a particular gang. Y'all gotta stop doing that shit. Y'all are really making me mad with this, okay? Especially for those people who don't live here, but you want to use these fucking stories as a way to get some engagement. Slow, pause, bro. I'd hate to get into it with some of y'all, because I've seen some of y'all so-called influencers using this shit as a way for y'all to get attention and likes. Yes, this is a very serious issue, but I also want y'all to understand that there's never been a time that black Chicagoans have not been under pressure. There's never been a time that we've not been fighting. So what are you talking about? Y'all want us to get so emotional that motherfuckers get on the front lines of something. No. You have to step back and pay attention first and foremost here. We know how to pay attention to things that's going on around us, okay? And y'all want people to get so upset that we go out into the streets and then some shit really happen? Black Chicagoans, fuck all them people that's talking crazy on this internet, especially if they asses ain't from here. Y'all sit the fuck down, pull back, because you have to be able to process what is going on. If you go out there on some emotional shit, that's how things get twisted. That's how shit get fucked up, because you're not thinking logically. I really need y'all to understand that this is not us against migrants. This is not us against anybody that they are here trying to detain. This is about us being a sanctuary city and our mayor and our governor pushing back on to stop posting about what's happening right now and not adding the fact that there was shit that led up to this happening. I ain't excusing nothing that they doing, but what I'm not going to do is put my people in no burning building. Hear me out. Be patient. I'm not saying that we won't do anything. I'm not saying that they won't try anything. I am saying you cannot react off of emotion. There has to be patience. There has to be a process. There has to be a preparation. Stop letting these people gas y'all the fuck up. We ain't on that.
I know that Trende Aragua and Gaines.
Hold on a second. Before we go any further, because I'm going to get heated on this, because I already know Van Lathan hasn't learned anything, man. Jesus Christ. It's like he tripled down, man. The money must be good. You know, I was pointing out to people in previous videos about this, that it didn't make sense that they went to this apartment building out of the blue. You know, ICE's main thing is to do what? What does ICE do? It deports people, right? Like, that's what it does. It apprehends people who are in the country without being documented, right? That's what it does. So what will make people think that that's not the primary goal of this entire exercise? What do you think they were doing? Do you think they want to have a publicly, very public showing of a dropping of the ball? Like, you don't think they did any type of recognizance, any type of investigation, any type of preparation on behalf of ICE to go in there with all that shit? I mean, there are people rappelling off the roof. You don't think they knew who was there? You don't think they did that for a reason? They thought people were in there with guns. They were there for gang members, not you, black people. Not you. So I peeped this initially because that's a lot of resources. People, when you see ICE, when you see all that equipment, when you see you see the cars, Black Hawk helicopters, MRAPs, all those different personnel, when you see that, think dollar signs, please. Think money. I'm not saying Americans are prone to waste money, but what I'm saying, when they're deliberately spending that much money, it's got to be a reason. It's got to be some type of play in it. The idea that you would think they would do that just to pick up D-Ray. Come on, D-Ray and Chris from up the block, sending a couple nickel bags who behind on child support. You really think that's what it's for, Johnson? And you really think they came to get somebody who misspent their food stamp money? I mean, Johnson, does that make sense to you? You think that's what they were there for? Now, of course, if a police officer sees that you have a warrant, they have an obligation to take you. I don't even think cops can decide if they take you or not if you have a bench warrant. So yeah, if the cops go in there, they see you, they get your ID, they gotta verify who you are because they're doing a sweep. But if they run you and they see you got a warrant, maybe they take you for that. But I don't think the intention was to go get Black Americans. They could just wait and go stand by the liquor store. I don't know. They don't have to do that. Is not why they were repelling. They weren't repelling off the top of the building because they're trying to get some brother in there that's selling knockoff Nikes. Think. I'm just saying, don't get caught up in it. I believe the Democrats don't give a shit about Black Americans. I think a lot of Black Americans need to wake up to that fact. You ain't nothing but a pawn to them. And Republicans don't pay us any mind because we never vote for them. So it's even worse with them. It's two bad situations, in my opinion. But stop being falling for the okie doke, man. Democrats want to put a battery in your back and use Black people like a mule to ride you to the next election. That's all they want to do. And they know that Black Americans tend to get emotional about civil rights and justice, and we empathetic, and they play us like that. I still question the woman that said she saw babies without clothes on. I still question the woman that said she saw an ICE person say, F them kids. I still question that. Sound too much like Bernie Mac. Sound too much like a comedy line. And where did Bernie Mac come from? Chicago. And where were they at? Chicago. And now everybody's playing this woman with uncorroborated evidence. No videotape, no video, no nothing. Just saying, hey, someone said F the kids. And that's been on 4 or 5 different networks. It's not even alleged. So anyway, the kids that were removed, I believe, were kids that were with their mama or with their dad who were getting processed. And they were undocumented people. That's what I believe. That's based on the information. But like I said, they're still talking about it. It's still still very much in the news. Let's go to CNN this segment where they're going to have that conversation. And where I'll be utterly disappointed in Van Lathan. Damn, me and this guy talked for a good 2 hours. And he basically said, fuck everything we talked about. He basically doubled down on using Black people as currency to try to help migrants. It's disgusting, man. But let's play. You decide.
And whatever, it's a catch-all to treat people however you want.
Says there has to
there and shred the Constitution or whatever.
Says there has to be a preparation. Stop letting these people gas y'all the fuck up. We ain't on that.
I know that Trey, Aragua, and Gaines and whatever, it's a catch-all to treat people however you want, to go in there and shred the Constitution or whatever else it is that you want to do. What I'm asking you is this. Do you think that children should have been zip-tied and pulled out of an apartment complex and traumatized like that? Yes or no?
I don't think children should be put in harm's way by transnational gangs.
Just answer the question. Yes or no? Do you think that children...
I don't accept the premise of your question.
I'm asking
the government's not putting children in harm's way. Trey, Aragua...
Real calm now. Real calm. Like
they're the ones putting children in harm's way.
Gentlemen and gentlemen, we have a responsibility for the way we treat people with the power that we have here in America. And we have a standard that we should treat human life with. And I'm asking you very clearly, concisely, should children be treated that way? Does Scott Jennings like that?
I don't accept the premise of your question.
All right, cool.
I don't believe that the premise of your question is accurate. I would ask you back. Should children be allowed to live in an apartment building with Trey Aragua? Should the entire community of Chicago have to live with Trey Aragua because they hide behind these children?
But here's the thing.
That's my question.
Black people in Chicago, let's get this clear for the record so nobody is confused, right? In 2020 and 2021, when Democrats, specifically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, flooded Chicago with the illegal, undocumented criminal invaders, y'all didn't have nothing to say about that, right? When the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, gave them benefits, millions, prepaid EBT cards with $10,000 on it, prepaid Visa cards, 6 months worth of free rent, free healthcare, free childcare. Y'all were okay with that. And then you all continue to be okay with it by going out and voting for Kamala Harris to continue what she was doing with the open borders, right? Now that ICE is there to actually do something about it, right? With Trump's mandate, now you all are boohoo, whining and crying, complaining that ICE is coming to black neighborhoods. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Where else are they supposed to go when that's where y'all allowed them to go? You see, Democrats didn't put these illegals in Oak Brook or Oak Park or Evanston, in any of the white neighborhoods, yet you got the white liberals downtown protesting to keep those people there because they know that they're in black neighborhoods. And y'all goofy. Y'all falling for this. Y'all voted for Kamala Harris, and now y'all are protesting ICE coming to black neighborhoods to remove these criminal invaders. Y'all are calling ICE racist for coming to the black neighborhoods. Well, why are they coming to the black neighborhoods? Because that's where you all allowed them to go. So tell me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave without telling me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave.
The horrors of what happened to the children is one thing. You also had American citizens, black American citizens that were drugged out of their homes and detained and put through something that they should not have had to go through. And when we are having a conversation about how customary it is to detain someone, I want people to remember the historic implications of that for black people.
Okay, hold on. Wait, what would be?
This nigga is a clown. Van, you are a complete clown. You are a joke, yo. Man, I was mad at first. I was, because I feel like it's a total disrespect and a waste of my goddamn time talking to your lame ass. But to see you crash out like this, to see him crash out like this, he can't even get through it. Even he know he's full of shit. I'm not even mad at you, bro. You want to go on the Boardwalk pretty bad, huh? He wanted to go on that white guy show, Boardwalk, Midas Touch or whatever. I just saw him on a big platform. Yeah, he's on some white liberal channel with one of those liberal, you know, stomach hurts. Listen to the guy even talk bullshit, out of touch asshole white guy. Just a moron. Anyway, so he got to go on it because he's Van Lathan was rewarded by being able to go on liberal platforms and spew this bullshit because it's helped his platform. He decided that this is going to help his career, to sell us out, to throw us under the bus. Now he's using black people being detained as if it's, you know, going to the gallows. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a middle passage. Hold on, man. Let's keep going. You know it's bad when I don't know, when Kim Kardashian here had to check his ass.
American citizens that were drugged out of their homes and detained and put through something that they should not have had to go through. And when we are...
Hold on, man. I'm sorry. Look, guys, I don't want to be redundant, but I got to say this. I want you please to pay attention to the black woman's face as if she's watching The Color Purple for the first time. Look at her face, very slave face. And look at his emphasis. Look at Van Lathan's overemphasis of the term black. I don't think I've heard anybody say black the way he says black here like this. This is amazing.
the horrors of what happened to the children is one thing. You also had American citizens, black American citizens that were drugged out of their homes and detained and put through something that they should not have had to go through. And when we are having a conversation about how customary it is to detain someone, I want people to remember the historic implications of that for black people.
Okay, hold on. Wait, what would be? Wait, let me ask you honestly. What would be is the alternative to go in there and say, okay, guys, raise your hand if you are an American citizen, and we're going to let you out of here. Do you trust people to be honest? Like, is that the alternative?
The alternative is for law enforcement to do their job.
Yes, that's what they're doing.
They are detaining the right people.
And how do they detain? How do they determine that? They have to see the papers.
The alternative is for law enforcement
to
act like a scalpel and not like a hatchet.
Brianna, 1 second. When you walk down the street, and so let's say hypothetically, a law enforcement person came up to you and said, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" What are you going to say?
Well, that's not the question.
No, let me ask you. If they said that to you, what would you say?
I would say yes.
Okay, and then they said, "I don't believe you. Let me put you in some zip ties."
You know what the difference is? When they're going into a hostile situation.
No, hold on a second.
Abby, you're
hold on a second.
There were 37 illegal aliens out of hundreds of people.
Listen, I think that I'm just playing out the scenario that you just described.
Right, but the scenario I'm describing is
Brianna, you just described the scenario. Yes, and in which you say that their only choice is to detain someone, make them not free to go, take away their freedom for however long, so that they can prove, not to take your word for it, but to prove that they are citizens. And if that happened to you, walking down the streets of New York, you would probably file a lawsuit. Would you not?
Abby, you are completely taking what I said out of context. So I will say it again. When a law enforcement official is going into a situation or an environment in which they know that there are criminal gang members in a confined environment in an apartment complex.
We have to go.
And in an apartment complex,
I don't want us to forget.
How should they differentiate between the two?
Hold on a second. I don't want us to forget.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Man, I got to tell you, man. The plantation hands are earning their keep today. Oh, man, they had to earn their rights to the porridge, to that slop they call food today, man. And they eat well, too. Don't get it twisted. I'm the little oxtails, lobster rolls, they doing the thing. I'm sure Abby, Phillip, and Van Lathan are rewarded handsomely for their shucking and jiving. But here's the thing, man. What we're having right now is a flashback to 2019, 2017, was it? What was AOC with the children in cages? That's all I can see is children in cages. But I think I liked it better when AOC did it. Yeah, Van Lathan just did his best rendition of children in cages. Now it's children in zip ties. Children in zip ties. Oh, man, I can't wait to cook up a graphic for this. You know what, guys? And just like the children in cages, there's always a Democrat catch to it. Yeah, the children in cages were created by what? By Obama and the Democrats. Children in zip ties, if that took place, I'm not even granting them that it took place. I saw a doctored photo of a child with a zip tie on. I think I'll put it here on this clip that I'm putting out. Totally fabricated. It's been authenticated as being bullshit. But the same thing with the children in zip ties, it's also created by the Democrats. And the reason why I say it's created by Democrats, even if it did occur, even though I have no proof of it, and they're adopted images that they're using to substantiate the bullshit, I can tell you this. If it were not for Joe Biden allowing in 10, 15 million undocumented people, we wouldn't be in this situation. The brother who was speaking earlier about Chicago, that Chicago resident that said, hey, you're mad that Trump sent troops to Chicago, to black neighborhoods, but you weren't mad that Biden sent undocumented people to black neighborhoods. So where else are they going to go get the people that are undocumented? To the black neighborhood. Notice they did not send undocumented people to poor white neighborhoods, to rural neighborhoods. Maybe they did, but maybe not in Illinois. It seems to me like they sent them to a lot of black neighborhoods. Why do you think they did that, Johnson? Don't you think neighborhoods such as Chicago, they couldn't even keep the public schools open? In which who are bankrupt, by the way. Even in Maryland, we lost our bond rating over this shit. We got communities, black communities, that are already stretched when it comes to resources. Stretched to the point of popping because of the influx of migrants that the federal government did not cover the full cost for, that were requiring the states to cover. How disrespectful it is to send these undocumented people to flood them into black communities. Where was the pushback from Van Lathan and Abby Phillip when that was happening? Where was the pushback from Van Lathan when people were given 6-month EBT cards or 6-month rent-free accommodations on our money, on poor people's tax money? Where was the pushback? Where was the call out? Van gets indignant when he imagines that somebody may be detained by police. Where's the same indignation? Where's the same attitude, fire in your belly for black people's money in their communities being siphoned out to take care of people that are not citizens? Where's the same level of frustration and anger when it comes to us being played the okie doke for other people? And why not? And look, and if you want to bring them in and you want to be philanthropic, if you want to be, okay. Different Strokes was a great show, and I like Different Strokes. And I liked that Gary Coleman and Todd Bridges, that they were able to go to the Drummond's house. But see, the Drummond didn't drop the kids off in the black neighborhood and give them to a black family, struggling, lower middle class family, barely putting food on the table. He took them in. He took them in. World all moves to the beat of just one drum. He took them in. He clothed them. He sheltered them. He fed them. He took the responsibility. What they did with Obama, with Obama and what Biden did, particularly Biden, no, what Biden did was he brought kids in. He brought grown-ass men and women in and dropped them off in the hood. Then got cowards who were unwilling to push back, like Brandon Johnson and Lloyd Lightfoot, or who was the shit? Who was that up in, who was that? Who was the other mayor? I'm forgetting who all the mayors were that was afraid to call a thing a thing. Baltimore mayor. All these mayors afraid to call a thing and to push back on shit. Okay? So they are the reverse Drummonds, right? These are people that want to do such beautiful, nice things that make Van Lathan feel real good inside, but not be the ones that bear the brunt of it. Now, they wanted us. We're the ones, black Americans, who, or should I say, black Americans, Van, were the ones having to deal with the lack of resources in our communities. Also, somebody else can feel good. See, you got to be able to call a thing. You got to be able to say what the problem is. I appreciate the content of the people on TikTok who are saying the real shit, who are saying the quiet part out loud, because without these real people telling you what's going on, we'll be subjected to Abby Phillip and Van Lathan speaking from their plateau of progressivism, telling working class black people and working class white people, Latinos, and all the others, because believe me, there are a lot of Latino folks, white folks, and people of Asian folks, people of all denominations and all orientations who are tired of the bullshit. Don't say Trump is being racist when you were being racist when you sent him here. You were being racist when you sent them to all black communities or mostly black communities. That's racism. Environmental racism, educational racism, because our schools are already overcrowded. Medical racism or healthcare racism, because now all of our staffs, all our hospitals are overcrowded, barely funding people by clinics or what have you, already stretched. Employment, what about where they're going to work at? What jobs? Whose jobs are they going to do? What jobs are they going to do? And what about the local, like the local ability to handle the influx of people? Where are the studies? Where's the planning? It was just done like, fuck those blacks. We're going to bring these people in here. We're going to put them here, and you're going to deal with it, black people. Suck it up. And if you complain, we're going to call you xenophobic. We're going to say you racist, that you are greedy, that you don't have empathy. Then we're going to send people like Van Lathan and Abby Phillip to talk down to you, to look down their nose. And for good measure, we'll have people get up here and use $5 words like D.L. Hughley, or to call black people names who don't want to go along with Kamala Harris's bullshit. Now, I wonder why Kamala Harris fucking lost. Why? Because she said she would do the same shit Biden did. And that's a good reason to fucking lose an election. Because this right here was bad all the way around. It didn't mean any good for black Americans. And for you guys to pretend, for you to be able to say, oh, she's a black woman, so you had to vote for her, fuck her, and fuck those plans. And the Democrats, the way that they do business is dog shit. They did this because we were black. That's why they put them in black communities. They figured we wouldn't be able to push back. We wouldn't be able to fight back. We the first fired, last hired. And we don't have agency nor power to stop shit. And even when we got black faces in high places, just like Van Lathan, just like Abby Phillip, just like Van Jones, they all capitulate and fold like lawn chairs. And I don't mean cool lawn chairs here either. I don't mean dope lawn chairs like the ones they used on their boat when they smacked them people upside the head. Nah, not like that with the riverboat. We talk about the $2 lawn chairs, the ones you sit in them and you better cancel Christmas. Yeah. They know that those black faces in high places they have in these black cities, they gonna fold like shit. That's why they put them in those positions. All right, guys. Well, I said my piece. I gotta hear what y'all think. What do y'all think about Van Lathan and Abby Phillip? What do you think about what has happened in Chicago? It does not mean we co-sign the activity. But I'll be damned if I sit up here and let black people jump out the gym on a situation that you should never have been put in the first place. Yeah, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Joe Biden's administration, the Democratic Party, gave a shit about black people, they never would have put you in this situation to begin with. If you ask me, we the ones that should have got the check cards. Black Americans that live in these communities that had to absorb these new people should be the ones who got an incentive for doing so. That's what will happen in a real world, in a fair, just country. If they bring people into your community and you have to include them, you want us to be a hospitable situation, you should give them the benefit. They should get the cards, the debit cards. They're the ones that should get stipends. If you're giving out money, give it to the people. Then all of a sudden, you got a much more amicable situation. The people that are coming there get something, and the people that have to absorb them get something. But see, you don't have to give ninjas nothing because they ninjas. They got to take it, deal with it, walk it off. And worse than that, if they don't, you call them Trump supporters. You call them MAGA. Kiss asses or coons or sellouts. That's why to this day I'm a Democratic Party hater, because I see through their bullshit. I just hope that some of y'all or more of y'all join me in seeing through the nonsense. I'm not saying become a Republican, but stop being a Democrat. Stop riding for Democrats, because they damn sure don't ride for us. All right, Johnson, show ain't over. I got some more content. I want to go to the comments real quick, and then we're gonna go to the next content. What's up, people? We doing okay? How we doing, fam? I know it's late as hell. Fam. Thank y'all for hanging in there. I appreciate you. What's up, DeAndre, Nigel, Craig G? What's going on, Black Mama? Thank you for your help. Sean Ford, bye, Felicia. Black Rose in the building. Did I get Katrina Prater? Trey Taylor in the house. DSM Center. Sinester. What's up, Sinester? Remember what happened when they showed up on Martha's Vineyard. Hell, I remember what happened when they showed up on Kamala's doorstep. She called the feds to come get them up out. Trust no party, I agree. I don't trust no party. Don't trust no party, baby. Them parties always backfire. My bad. Here goes a comment from Black Rose. Gave them Medicaid, the Democrats are lying now and saying they didn't get, they don't receive, and shutting down the government with those lies. There it is, Johnson. I think we cooking up here tonight, ain't we? Tim had the South Shore raid right from the jump. Don't let anyone tell you different. Thank you, Phyllis Mind. I appreciate you, fam. All right, family. Now, we almost done. I got a couple more stories to get out so I can have this content ready tomorrow to go up on my YouTube channel. Let's see if we can move to the next second part two. It's only like 15 minutes, but it's going to be worth it, y'all. Let's see what we got.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Go ahead.
That's crazy. Obviously, everybody needs to be held accountable.
Yes.
Everybody that is a part of that police department needs to be held accountable. The witness who was not bribed but was tempted to tell a story that wasn't true needs jail time.
For sure.
The officer who created the story to say that it was Kyron Lacey's fault, he needs to be jail time. To Lacey's family, I hope they sue not only the city, but that police department and get everything they deserve, because their son is now gone.
It is. It's tough.
Their son is now gone based on something completely false that was made up by those that are supposed to protect us.
But see, in the way it was portrayed, Ocho, it was portrayed that he passed the 4 cars and then caused the impact that cost the man his life. It's reported, it's being through security cameras, like, yeah, he passed away back there, but he was not a part of the accident.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have another question. When everything happened, there are cameras everywhere, Unc.
Yes.
The cameras everywhere. So this situation wouldn't even got to the light of day. Brother Lacey wouldn't have had any issues, and they would have known the officer was lying. They would have known the witness was lying. Why didn't we use the camera footage ahead of time? Why are they just coming out now? All of this could have been prevented. Obviously, I don't understand the judicial system. I don't understand how that stuff works and why the footage it's just coming out just now.
Not coming out.
I mean, those that are watching, I don't know how that stuff works.
It's a very sad story.
Yeah, it's a horrible story. It's a horrible story, man.
It's the guilt that this man had to possibly face. That, like, man, they say I did this. They say I took someone's life, that I'm responsible for this.
To do with it.
And Ocho, remember, he was uninvited to the draft.
Yeah, because of it.
Yes.
Because
yes. But see, that goes to Ocho. You see it, the role that media plays, how they can write a story, how they can report a story.
Right. Listen, if I'm the Lacey family, boy, I'm from the second line and get every dime. I'm from the second line and get every dime, and I'm saying that in a respectful way because I can get my son back.
It's a tough story, man, but I wanted to cover it. Let me let people know exactly what happened with the current Lacey story, man. Kyron Lacey was a 24-year-old standout wide receiver for the LSU Tigers. He was a rising NFL prospect with a bright future ahead until a fatal car crash accusation unraveled everything. What started as a hit-and-run investigation spiraled into felony charges, intense public scrutiny, and ultimately his death by suicide. As of October 5th, 2025, explosive new evidence has emerged exonerating him posthumously. Exonerating him posthumously. And reigniting outrage over potential police misconduct. So we got police misconduct, we got media bias, and we got systemic failures. Here's a clear rundown to help you update your audience. It's heartbreaking, but the facts paint a picture of innocence lost too soon. The car crash took place on December 17, 2024. They charged Laci January 10th, April 12th. He facing mounting pressure, including a grand jury hearing. Just days away, Laci dies by suicide in Houston, Texas. In October 4th, Laci's attorney, Billy Gibbons, releases dash cam footage. May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months later, the dash cam footage comes out. The footage is a game changer. So it shows the actual crash. It shows that Mr. Laci had nothing to do with it at all. In fact, I got clips to that extent. That's.
Oh no, he ain't
I
coming
can't
back.
get what you saw. Just make sure, which resulted in him taking his life.
Take his own life.
So look, don't worry about filling any of this top information, like your name, address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, me and my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't skid mark or nothing, that wasn't even going for me. That lady in the back of me, she didn't say what was happening. That's how she caused that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here.
In that video, you can clearly hear the suggestive nature indicating that I need you to say that you had to slam on your brakes and you had to avoid a charger.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
But then you hear Gold Truck, the witness, who's the Gold Truck, what he says. And he says verbatim.
I ain't skid mark or nothing, that wasn't even going for me. That lady in the back of me, she didn't say what was happening. That's how she caused that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
I didn't skid marked or nothing because I wasn't even going that fast. That lady in the back of me, she didn't see what's happening. That's how she caused that wreck. She was going to run into the back of me, and she pulled into the other side. But there's a bigger problem. I then obtained the actual written statement.
And this is from the Gold Truck.
This is the Gold Truck. Now, after the statement we just went through, notice, I've obviously redacted names, addresses, and the cell phone number in fairness to the individual who is Gold Truck, number one, in oncoming traffic. See, the problem with that statement is, it is in direct contravention to what was said minutes earlier. It's not written by him, and where it says signed, it's not signed. It's refused. But you see, when I have a witness who is the most critical, and he's telling you, I wasn't traveling fast. We know now that he wasn't. The data shows 2.99 seconds before that he was traveling 28 miles an hour. The data shows that. Now he corroborates that. And he goes on to say, I didn't even make a skid mark. That woman behind me, she caused that accident. And you give me this statement that is refused, I got a problem. I got a problem with that, a big one. What he's saying is she had to avoid hitting him. He specifically stated she caused that accident, but I've got an affidavit for arrest warrant right here. Nowhere in here does it say anything that you guys just saw on body cam. To the contrary, about that vehicle, it says the gold truck took evasive action by emergency braking and driving off the roadway to avoid a head-on crash. But you just heard he said, I wasn't even going fast. I didn't even skid mark. So what emergency braking are we referring to here? And what the hell was the point of this report? That is complete opposite. I would expect that you'll show this to where they can read what was said versus what was written just minutes earlier.
Just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, like, you know, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't skid mark or nothing. I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here. Okay.
By the way, the body cam wasn't on for this statement. It was turned off before obtaining this statement. And this is what we get back in a file.
It makes it so bad. The brother, the man in the gold truck, he refused to sign it. Maybe him and his wife, after they wrote that shit down, they were like, nah, we can't sign this, man. That's not what happened. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to perjure myself. They still wrote it up that way. This is how our justice system does us. This is so infuriating, man. So infuriating. I want to know, what was it about this player that this cop wanted to ruin his life? You can't tell me this is random, like this is just something he wanted to do. I mean, he had a person that was obviously responsible for the crash. The man in the truck, the gold truck, just told you who was responsible for the crash. Why would you need to pin it on the brother in the Dodger?
In the top left of the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodaux, coming from Vacherie. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyron Lacey come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyron Lacey is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyron Lacey did, in fact, pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyron Lacey passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall. At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
That's a bitter pill to swallow, fam. That is a bitter pill to swallow. Young man's life is gone because of corrupt cop. And when we tell people that this is what we deal with, it's possible that you're dealing with a situation where cops are being dishonest. There are a certain group of people that always say we're lying. Yeah, because nothing we say could be true. It's no way possible that the police officer wouldn't tell the truth or that they would fabricate evidence. Even though I can show you time and time again of different cops who fabricated evidence. And I'm sure Kyron Lacey, who stood by his claim of not guilty, felt like he was in a twilight zone the whole time. Why are these people saying I did something and I didn't do it? And in the midst of being in a situation where he could lose everything, the amount of stress that he was under, being a young man that he was, being an NFL prospect, like, just imagine that, man. You're at the doorstep of everything that you've worked for your entire life. All that becoming a reality, the goal that you set your life on, the rigorous training, the sacrifice, the preparation, the workouts, the training, the dedication, the commitment. And you right there at the door of this life that you imagined, that you dreamt of happening. It's all about to happen. And then this. And it just take it all from you. And not because he did something. And I can understand depression. I mean, I understand you have to be in it to know exactly how he felt. I can imagine the depression, the frustration, the sadness, the anger, the betrayal. I can't even put it into words. The footage is a game changer. It shows the actual crash unfolding ahead of Lacey's vehicle with no contact from his car whatsoever. Despite this, police pursued charges for 9 months. Even after Lacey's death, critics, including civil rights advocates, are now demanding an investigation into why prosecutors sat on this video. Yeah, folks, it's not like this footage just showed up. They had the footage the whole time. Yeah, it's not like they went and got new footage. I'm wondering, so the lawyers, the prosecutors, obviously, they did not turn over this evidence during discovery, right? So they have an obligation to provide this evidence during the discovery process, right? I remember that from my paralegal training. It says here that the evidence surfaced early in the probe. There's a hashtag if you want to follow the story. Justice for Kyron Lacey. Let's keep going, man. Let me know what y'all think, man. Of course, I can imagine a lawsuit coming. I can imagine there being a push for a lawsuit. I can imagine some jobs. I can imagine people losing their jobs. None of that's enough. None of that's enough. Even if those things happen and people are held accountable, it ain't even nearly enough. It's not even the same vicinity. You can't even take a GPS and route yourself to where enough would be from where we are right now. You understand what I'm saying? There are no coordinates to get you from where we are to where enough would be after reading that story, after finding out about that story. Shout out to Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco. I could feel the frustration and sadness in Ocho. It's a real brother on that. I appreciate that. All right, guys. We're almost done. A little bit further to go. Thank you for tuning in here. Become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack by going to jointimblack.com. Jointimblack.com. I appreciate y'all. When people say, hey, I'm innocent, this didn't happen the way they're saying it, that's why people are innocent until proven guilty. It took everything away from this young man. Under suspicion. And it was allowed from the beginning. And I want you to know this is not a new thing. It's not a one-off. I've covered stories like this before. All right.
With midterms a little over a year out, the Democratic National Committee is trying to regain that trust by engaging voters at historically black colleges and universities as the Trump administration continues to crack down on diversity in higher education. Joining me now is Pennsylvania State Senator Malcolm Kenyatta, Vice Chair of the Democratic National Committee. And Mr. Vice Chair, thanks for joining us in studio. So let's start with the DNC's efforts to regain lost ground with black voters. What's behind the idea and why do it during homecoming events?
Listen, you understand this. You have to earn people's trust. You have to earn people's votes, and you have to do it every single election cycle. You can never take the approach, well, this constituency voted for me before, or this individual voted for me before, therefore they're stuck with me. People make a choice every single election, and a part of what we have to get out of the habit of, and what this new DNC is not going to be in the habit of, is showing up to people a couple of days before the election and saying, well, you're black, so of course you're going to vote for us. No, we have to lay out an agenda, and I've been very clear that the Democratic mission, our message is 3 words. We have to talk about we're going to make life better for working people and working families, and a part of what we're going to be talking about at these college campuses is about Donald Trump's frontal assault and attack on black people, on diversity and equity in this country, and frankly, his assault on competence. This is one of the most incompetent people we've ever seen sit behind the Resolute desk.
Now, just last week, Trump was claiming that black unemployment is at a record low on his watch. We don't have September jobs report due to the shutdown. But Trump's claims might come as a surprise to actual black people in the United States who've watched their unemployment rate skyrocket to nearly twice the national average over the last 9 months. And to the more than 320,000 black women who've lost jobs in the Trump 2.0 economy. Still, Trump was able to make gains with black voters in 2024, especially young black men. Do Democrats need a new message to bring them back, and what does that sound like?
So listen, we should be very clear. What happened in any previous election tells you nothing about the future. Folks have a right to change their minds. And a part of what a lot of people thought was that Donald Trump was going to actually do what he said, that he's going to be working to lower costs, that he was going to get us out of a lot of these foreign wars and entanglements on day one, as he said. He's actually done the opposite of that. I said the Democratic Party's message is to make life better. He has spent every single day making life worse. Take the shutdown that's happening right now. Black people are going to be impacted in substantial ways if you talk about the Obamacare insurance marketplace and losing the tax credits, which Republicans are so intent to keep people from being able to afford health care that they shut down the whole government. I mean, people should really just step back and think about that. These people are so intent on making sure you can't go to the doctor that they were willing to shut down the entire government.
That is the sticky point on
that's
the
right.
health care issue.
It's the whole thing. And when you went through, Rev, in great detail, the unemployment numbers, that is a canary in the coal mine. If you look at every recession that has ever happened, when you start to see black unemployment, which always is a tick or two higher, when you start to see those numbers explode as we've seen them explode, that is a canary in the coal mine for where this economy is going. So Donald Trump is busy trying to put his face on coins, while the entire value of the dollar and the entire economy is falling in the toilet because of his leadership. He would rather send ICE agents to detain black people than do everything he can to make sure black folks have a solid education and that people have access to gainful employment.
You know, the administration...
Okay.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
Y'all don't really buy that, do you? I said, y'all don't really buy that, do you? Okay, so we went over this, but I don't want to sound redundant. You do know the Democrats are the ones with the government shutdown. That's who's shutting down the government, the Democrats. Right? The continued resolution, this thing that they're voting on, they should have just signed this off and then once said, hey, when we get to the real shit, then we got to negotiate. This is just to keep the doors open until that. So the government shutdown is a Democratic manufactured chaos, mud bucket pile of last Hail Mary to try to seem relevant. I don't know why they're doing it. It's blowing up in their face. 700,000 people are out of work. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing, I'm not an idiot. Neither should you be. Democrats have been giving benefits to undocumented people. That's what all the memes are about. The memes that you've seen with Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero and Chuck Schumer playing lead a mariachi band, that's all about undocumented immigrants getting health care via Democratic Party. They say they don't give them Medicaid, they've been giving them Medicaid. They say they weren't giving them benefits, they've been giving them benefits and giving them EBT cards or giving them debit cards, the whole nine. Okay, so these are the type of things that they're fighting for. And for the average person, we don't want to pay for that shit. I mean, it's hard enough getting Americans to pay for Americans. Americans don't want to have to pay for non-Americans. That's crazy talk. And if anything, you should be giving Americans a discount or a benefit for even having these people be in our country. That's what I think. That's what I want. I mean, I'm looking for a hookup. You want me to bring people in? I mean, you know, I know some people here may have taken some children from the state, had some foster children, and people get paid for that. So should our states and our cities for housing people coming in. So anyway, that's another thing. Last thing, I'm not convinced that Black Americans are interested or all that interested in Democrats. This guy here has got a sunny spin on all this bullshit. But at the end of the day, man, Democrats aren't selling Black people anything. They weren't selling them anything before, and now you just got a new slogan. Oh, that's great. Make life better. Ooh, that's simple. That's easy. How you gonna make life better? How you gonna make life better? What are you gonna do to make life better? I know you're not gonna say you're gonna end any wars, because you're not. You're not trying to. Democratic Party is the party of war. Let's be very clear here. They're the party of war. There's not a war going on. Democrats don't co-sign. Trump is still less warlike than Biden. Okay? When it comes to what else he said? He said that Trump jobs, healthcare. We got healthcare, jobs. You know, I'm not convinced that some of the jobs that Black women lost didn't have something to do with the immigration situation. I'm just wondering, where did all the women that came, or the women and men that were allowed to come into America, some of them had to get jobs. Where did they get jobs at? Maybe the service industry. There's a number of Black people that work in service. Where did they go? How did America consume, or how did America bring in 10 to 15 million people and none of them got jobs? I'm just wondering, where did they go work? How are they making a living? You come to America, you don't speak the language, but you have some skills, you worked wherever you're from, so you get a job eventually. Whose job, at what rate, and where do they work at? So I'm not convinced that some of the jobs that have been lost weren't lost due to immigration. People had to work. People got to feed themselves. At some point, the EBT card don't work. At some point, America stopped giving them the debit cards. At some point, these people had to get jobs. So I'm not convinced. Now, what I will say, there are DEI jobs that some Black women did have that I know those went away. So we do have 100,000 federal jobs. There are also state-level jobs, private sector jobs that no longer have DEI programs because they were found to be unconstitutional. And now, since those are gone, there's a hit there. So I'm not going to say there wasn't a hit that some people took, right? I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that, to me, that was all because Democrat overreach. You know, when you make DEI, when you make affirmative action, everything, Black plus everything else, yeah, I think it's a hard enough sell to the American people to say we're gonna assist Black people, but at least Black people have a history of being discriminated against in the country. At least that logically makes sense, unless you're Nick Fuentes, right? Unless you're Jake Shields, or Nick Fuentes, or you know, Brandon Tatum, or Candace Owens. Like, unless you're one of these people, one of the conservative perspective, unless you're one of these people, right? One of the grifting conservative blacks, you pretty much can make the claim that Black Americans have faced a lot of discrimination in America. And because of that, documented, well-studied, well-quantified data that shows Black people have been facing this discrimination to this day. Till today, yeah, you can make the argument that there are certain programs that need to be implemented in order to right the ship. But you can't make that same claim with people that aren't American citizens. You can't make the same claim with LGBTQ. How would people know that you are even LGBTQ? Well, maybe trans if they could tell, but I mean, not always. And if let's say tell you to give them their music track, and let's say would demand that you give them your Spotify playlist, and you got a bunch of show tunes, no one would know you were gay by that. So how can you say that other people should have got these DEI jobs? See, once again, the Democratic Party did what they do best, which is use Black pain and suffering to help everybody else except Black people. And then when it gets shut down, who gets the major hit? We do. We get the major hit. And that's why I'm saying Black people got to start holding the Democratic Party responsible. Don't listen to Al Sharpton talk about it's Black people, we're being targeted. No, those programs should have never been implemented. Democrats bit off more than they could chew. Gesundheit. They took what they were doing under Obama, rolled it into Biden, and now they messed around and ran into a buzzsaw called Donald Trump. Okay? That's what happened. Once again, you can't even say that cutting DEI was a ding against Black people when you had Eskimos, LGBTQ, undocumented people, DACA, and everybody else all included. In fact, they gave everybody else DEI status except for white guys, straight white guys. They had white women in DEI program as if white women are discriminated against when they are like 30% of the country or some shit. Like, it don't even make sense. First of all, they're white. So they took discrimination from being what we fought for with civil rights, from being a Black thing, being disenfranchised, 100 years of Jim Crow, not even given full rights as citizens until 64. They took that and used it to help other people and put money in their pockets and develop non-government organizations that created money for their friends when they got out of Congress, family members who wanted to start a 501c, get tax deductions and make money and get contracts and this whole shit. You got to realize this whole ecosystem of bullshit rides on the backs of Black American. But what do we get from it? We get to have the lowest home ownership rate of any group in America. We get to have a widening racial wealth gap. That's what we get to have. That's what we get for all our pain. That's what we get for them riding our coattails to justice or to success or to a plentiful American experience. Black people deserve to be upset about this. And the way they need to show their upset, the way they need to show their disgust, their frustration with the Democrats is not voting for these motherfuckers. How else they gonna learn? They're gonna roll out this guy smiling like he just hit the publishing clearinghouse sweepstakes. No, motherfucker, your party is suspect. Your party, our suspect, your party's suspect, and now you're suspect. You're suspect because you're up here trying to put a lipstick on a pig and sell it to Black America, and this shit ain't gonna work. I don't care how many buzzwords you use. The equity that was stored up, if it was ever stored up, is depleted. It is gone. Finito. Oh, in this lie that Black people are being detained, Black people have been detained in America forever. We were detained on arrival. We've been detained in the mass incarceration. And I would say, if there's been detaining of Black Americans, they were done under the Biden administration, which, by the way, the chief architect of mass incarceration, chief architect of the 91 and 94 crime bills, your boy Joe Biden, who you Democrats if could have had it your way, would have had his ass a second term. ran Kamala, who said she would do exactly what that dumbass did. I don't know why you want to use that detainment as a talking point as a Democrat. You should have no room to stand. You should not even want to even go into the area of detainment. That don't even make no damn sense. You know, to bring that up with black people as if that's going to be a reason to get black people to want to go outside and protest. Shit, who been doing all the detaining? If it weren't for the Democrats with their 94 crime bill, with their war on drugs bullshit, with their tough on crime. In fact, Democrats wanted to show they could be tougher on crime than Republicans. That's how we got that shit to begin with. Your boy Joe Biden. So anyway, enough. Al's despicable. He is a sea urchin and a scumbag. And the Democrats, I say did in the water. The problem for the Republicans is this Charlie Kirk shit has revealed a lot of shit about Republicans. And I don't think even, and only the most staunch, smash mouth, MAGA blacks are going to still ride with Trump after this Charlie Kirk shit and then exploded. I mean, I still got a bad taste in my mouth listening to 2 weeks of Charlie's loves black people. Charlie doesn't racist. I done heard so many black conservatives tell me that bullshit that what I'm hearing, I ain't hearing right. What I'm saying, don't believe your lying eyes, don't believe your lying ears. I'm tired of shit of Republicans. I don't want to hear shit Republicans or MAGA got to say. All this shoving down my throat of the fucking Charlie Kirk rewriting history. Yeah, I don't like Ketanji Brown Jackson's answer to what's a woman question either. But to call her a moron is going too far. To say that these black women don't have brain processing power, I still can't get over that shit. How the hell you try to make that seem taken out of context? Fuck out of here. So if the Republicans got a problem, if the MAGA has a problem, it'll be Charlie getting shot. And I guess the biggest problem is that Charlie got shot. I guess a bigger problem for Charlie. But what I'm saying is the fallout. The fallout, if anything, Democrats should be benefiting from that shit. But they ain't going to benefit from it because they stupid. They're flat-footed, and instead they want to shut down the government and put 700,000 people out of work and then think they can sucker everybody, have them watch Sharpton, and believe that Trump shut the government down when it was actually them. Who don't want to fund the government. That's it. Lord have mercy. That was a hell of a run, wasn't it? I know I had that much wind left to me at the end of my show. We're almost done. One more clip, and I think we're done.
Is pressuring 9
administration. They ought not receive state funds. We have to be in a position where we stand up.
Stop falling for the okie doke. Stop believing the lies that they are putting out there and the terrible racist tropes that they are constantly using to rile people up. It is time to recognize that while you thought the enemy was the immigrant, or you thought the enemy was the trans person, or you thought that the enemy was the black folk, or you thought the enemy were the women, when the reality is that the only person that is harming you.
Or we thought the enemy needs an enema, or we thought the enemy is the person who keeps saying we thought the enemy. Yo, man, I don't mean nothing for nothing, man, but I know Jasmine Crockett is a lawyer, man. I thought she would do better lawyering than this shit. Every time I hear Jasmine Crockett talk, it's like, what is it, man? It's just performative, and it's not very good. And I know y'all want me to, I went out to Megyn Kelly because of Jamel Hill. But then Jasmine Crockett just comes out here. All she do is gaslight. The enemy is, I'm going to run down this whole list of all these people. You thought the enemy was the strange. You thought the enemy was the undocumented. And the enemy was the blacks. You thought the enemy was, and we all know what you're going to end with. Trump. Because to you, Trump is the Antichrist. But you know what? America wanted the Antichrist over your girl Kamala, who you were a surrogate for. So what does that say about you? What does that say about your picking skills? The enemy has the thing. And the enemy is brevity.
Stop falling for the okie doke. Stop believing the lies that they are putting out there and the terrible racist tropes that they are constantly using to rile people up. It is time to recognize that while you thought the enemy was the immigrant, or you thought the enemy was the trans person, or you thought that the enemy was the black folk, or you thought the enemy were the women, when the reality is that the only person that is harming you right now, if you are struggling to make sure that you can pay your bills, if you're struggling to feed your family, if you are struggling to find a job, if you are struggling to keep your business open, or if you are a farmer, while we currently have record level bankruptcies by farmers, it is not any of those people on the list. It is the old white Nepo baby that is sitting in the White House that is causing all the destruction, pain, and problems that you are enduring.
Yeah.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Man, Jasmine Crockett is a seasoned professional. She was a lawyer. She has passed the bar. And every time she talks, I just think I get dumber and dumber every time she speaks. Yeah, I feel like I can feel brain cells just dying in my head. Some of them commit suicide, hang themselves, jump off one brain stem and jump into, I don't know, man. They strangle themselves on the ignition. They cut the ignition and roll up the windows of close the garage door in my head. Look, here's the thing. This is what I'm saying, man. You know, when you say something about Trump, I guess it's supposed to give you points. Does it give them frequent flyer points when they shit on Trump? Does that do something for them? My thing is they spend all day talking about Trump, never talking about what they're going to do for people. Why isn't any of her grandstanding, any of her speeches and her rants, why aren't any of them focused on what Democrats are going to do for people? How they going to make life better? Why aren't they focused on that? Why doesn't Jasmine Crockett come up with a different point of view, a point of order that actually inspires people, that tells people what her mission is and how she wants to accomplish it? Because the Democrats got nothing for you. They got nothing for you except hate for Trump. And that doesn't pay bills. That doesn't keep the lights on. That doesn't give people an opportunity to have better, brighter futures. All it does is give Crockett a reason to have her name mentioned and be on shows. And by the way, Crockett, when you say what the enemy is, you could just list the things. You don't have to keep saying the enemy of this, the enemy of that. Just, hey, the enemy is not trans, immigrants, blacks, I don't know, bad movies. I don't know. Spike Lee movies. I don't know. I mean, you don't have to do such grandstanding, and your grandstanding is all I'm saying. You could tone down the grandstanding just a little bit and go with some substance and say something that matters. And it seems like every show that I see them featuring Jasmine Crockett, they just allow her to ramble on and not say anything. Listen, man, I supported Jemele Hill when Megyn Kelly came for her and called her looks. I reminded Megyn Kelly that she looked like Skeletor's little sister. And that she reminded me of milk that was stale, that left out, that spoiled. And it's the reason why she's been fired from more jobs than an Iraqi assault rifle. These are things that I reminded Megyn of. And I want to support Jasmine Crockett. God damn it, I can't find a reason why. She's hella repetitive. And she's passionate about shit that is pointless. She's passionately pointless or pointlessly passionate about ravaging or raging and ranting about Trump's supposed failures, when all I see is a guy that beat the brakes off the person you supported and surrogated for. That's all I see is a guy that beat the shit out of your party. Not once, but twice. They beat the shit out of his party 3 times in a row. So, I don't know. Democrats need to focus more on what they're going to do for people. That's the only way you can get back to any type of equal footing. But as it stands, you run nothing. You own nothing. Therefore, you are nothing. You're the party of opposition. I'm so tired of hearing this resistance bullshit. People that fall for that are just okie dokes waiting to happen. Speaking of okie dokes, you want to hear okie doke, Jasmine Crockett? The okie doke is when you decided that all flash was more important than substance. When you decided that being in front of the camera was more important than getting things done behind the scenes legislatively to actually do something for Texas. What the hell have you done for Texas? I'd like to know, man. I'd like to see a list of those things because that's really what people should be looking at. Now, I'm not from Texas. I don't live in Texas. I have no idea. I just never hear you talk about it. I never hear you talking about the real reason your ass should be in Congress. Getting shit done for the people that put you there. I didn't put you in Congress. I admit it. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm in Maryland. I get it. It's just either that or you're just a PR person for the Democratic Party. And I think that's what it is. It's like you're a surrogate for the Democrats. You went from being a surrogate for Kamala to being a surrogate for the Democratic Party. And you say the same thing every show. At least get better writers or get writers. Because damn, how many times are you going to call Trump? Y'all went from calling him Hitler to calling him a fascist to calling him 45 to calling him 47. Now you call him the old white Nepo baby. And then when he comes for you and makes you a focal point of a rant, then you're going to act butthurt and attacked and say he did it because you black. It's exhausting. Hey, man, you talked about Trump for damn near a year before he said your name the first time. And now you won't stop, and now he got your number, and now you need security. Last time I heard you were complaining about that shit, but you ain't stopped calling him out. So it is what it is. I'm not going to defend Jasmine Crockett any more than I'm going to defend Fonnie Willis or Jessica Albright. What's the last name? I don't know. Jessica Daniels. The one in New York that put the frivolous lawsuit. Y'all put frivolous lawsuits on this guy, and then this guy beats him, and the shit gets thrown out, and you don't think he's going to have a grudge? No wonder why everybody said he was going to come for revenge. He should. Ain't that what happened in all the horror movies? People come for revenge? Anyway, that's all I got, man. Jasmine Crockett, Jesus Christ, sister, get a point of view. But until you do something for your constituents, you ain't worth the time of day, nor should be taken seriously. She's a sideshow. She's a sideshow Bob of the Congressional whatever caucus. Yeah, the only people less helpful, less functional is the Congressional Black Caucus. I don't even know what the hell they do. I seen a Little League support group. There's a HOA group for a senior citizens home that does more work than the Congressional Black Caucus. I mean, these people don't do shit. What are they caucusing about? The Congressional Dead Carcass is, anyway, that's it, man. Look, I'm Tim Black. Thank you for tuning in. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm running out of shit to say that's negative. I'll just say this is positive. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you for tuning into the Tim Black Show. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm doing all this talking. I got to talk again tomorrow. Shit, I got to talk again today. It's 2 a.m. Jesus Christ. Look, man, thank y'all for being here. Don't forget to join us. Go to jointimblack.com. Become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. I want to thank my moderators, the one and only Ebony, Black Mamba, and Buck Bewley for being here, putting up with this stuff we got going on. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, X. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Wolfpack. You guys are the best for rolling with independent media done right. Remember, we don't cape for any political party, none whatsoever. Do me a favor, do you a favor, do you a favor, do your family a favor, do your community a favor. Don't let anybody take your cornbread. Yeah. Damn. Damn, man. People are going in, man. Oh God. Oh man. Yep. No solutions, always complaining. That's it, guys. Nothing but the best. I'll see you tomorrow. Where my girls at, man? Where my ladies? All my ladies here?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he
Man.
said either. Look.
Oh man, I'm delirious.
What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the
The
definitions of
best.
these
I
words.
wish y'all the best. All right, Charles Brewster, thank you for being here. Black Haywood. Haywood, you got it. Katrina Prater, Sean Ford. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you always. We done. And as always, where are my ladies? Where are my ladies? Oh, there they go. Here go my girls, y'all. I see y'all.
Now, there you go. I gotta wait till it's my turn.
Thank you.